What's up, everybody? Welcome back to DreamHack Atlanta. We are here with the H1Z1 Elite Series Grand Finals. We have just gone through all of the qualifiers for teams today, all the qualifiers for solos yesterday, and we're down to the top 60 here in solos, and we're gonna see who gets their cut of the $100,000 grand prize for the solo division.
Yeah, $250K on the line in total, and the qualifiers are completely in the past. It is all grand finals from here on out.
It's gonna be nuts, but before we get ahead of ourselves, for any new viewers, my name is Jason, aka Supersonic. I am a caster here in the H1Z1 community. I do a lot with the community and back end for scrims, helping these guys get practice in to make sure that they're prepared for these types of events. And beside me, I have a newcomer to the casting scene for H1, not a newcomer to casting at all, though. My boy Rich, and I'm gonna go ahead and let him intro himself.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Rich Campbell. I've been a caster for about a year over at MLG, but this is my first H1Z1 event. Been doing a bunch of other games, but could not be having a better time, especially with how the qualifiers did pan out. It has been so exciting, but for all the new viewers just tuning in, because we're on the main stage right now at DreamHack, and for all the new fans in the audience, you can see him freaking out right now. Let's break down exactly what H1Z1 is.
Yeah, H1Z1, little bit different game coming into esports. It is a massive arena shooter, and what that's gonna mean is that these players are dropping into a 100 square kilometer map with nothing but the clothes on their back. They need to scavenge for weapons, med kits, everything they need to stay alive, fight against the toxic gas that's gonna force them closer and closer together, and then fend off the enemy to be the last man alive and take home that prize.
Yeah, and the way it ends up panning out is in 3 clear phases. The first one's gonna be the looting phase, and as you mentioned, they're dropping in with absolutely nothing. So they have to do everything in their power to acquire enough resources to make it through the entirety of the game. After that, we move to the mid-game phase, and that's when they're gonna start really pushing each other to the limits. In solos, we're even gonna start to see some kills. Then after that, I know that's your favorite part of the game, the late game.
I mean, my favorite part in solos or fives is always the late game. The tension builds all the way through the mid phase as these guys try to find and kind of edge out their area of the map that they can hold and defend till the end. But at the end, we're gonna have 50 players left. Somebody's gonna pop a shot, and at that point, everybody is gonna go wild until there's one guy left.
Let's talk about how exactly the players got here as well. We started with so many teams, 120. We broke them up into 2 groups, Group A and Group B, and they had 2 qualifier matches. Now, the top 20 players from each of those groups have made it to the grand final, and then joining them, we have 20 invited players. We have not gotten to see them play here at this event, but they are some of the biggest names in the H1Z1 community.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's also go ahead and get into the breakdown here with those players that we were talking about. And we're gonna have players, let's take a look here. I know that we've got
Pineapples. That's one of the guys that we're gonna be seeing for the first time. We also have Howie. We may have seen him a little bit in the group play, but this is the first time we're seeing him in solos. We also have Flamehopper. We have so many names that we can be talking about. I'm excited to see Ninja. I know a lot of people are excited to see him as well. People were tweeting at me to talk about Adrian. There's a lot of action going on here.
Yeah, there's a lot of big names, and they're here, and they're all in this final, and we're gonna get to see a ton of action. We're gonna go to 3 games instead of 2, which is gonna let these guys show off what they got a little bit more. Each match, though, in the way the scoring works, so that people at home know what's going on. If you take last place, it's 31,000 points, plus 1,000 points per kill, 175,000 points to first place, which is about 50,000 more than second place takes. So first place is really big.
And $100,000 on the line, but we forgot to talk about bounties. This is gonna be the first time that that bounty system is coming into effect. $100 for each kill. Whoever gets the most kills here across the 3 games going to be taking home an additional $3,000. That can be a lot of money, especially over 3 games. We were talking about some of these big slayers. They're coming out getting 8 kills in a game, maybe. If they manage to get even 6 over the course of all 3 games, that adds up to be quite a lot of additional money on top of the $100,000 prize pool.
Yeah, absolutely. That's gonna stack up really quick for some of these guys that play that aggressive play style just naturally. There's a lot of guys that play the passive aggressive, but we do have a couple guys that are just gonna go in and take any fight that they see. If they see somebody they're throwing down, and it's $100 every time they win that engagement. And we do need to go back, though. Let's go ahead and check out the players that are gonna be here if we can get that full list.
Yeah, let's definitely check out all of those players. I'm so excited to get this one underway. Now you're looking on your screen at all of these players. Anyone in particular that you want to be taking a look at?
Isco, bounties. Isco and bounties equal money. Isco is gonna go off.
Definitely going to be looking forward to that. Yeah, and he has been one of the huge slayers this time around. We saw him get, what was the most kills that we saw him get in a game so far?
He tied his performance from TwitchCon at 8. So he took out 8 players in one of those matches.
I'm excited to see P90 Princess as well. P90 came out, got second place in her qualifier match.
Yeah.
Going to see if she can repeat
Isco,
that as well today.
bounties.
Yeah,
Isco and bounties
awesome.
equal money.
Tixie, man.
Tixie
is an absolute phenom. We got to see him break that out in the last game of the day yesterday. If he repeats that performance, I will probably die on the stage. It was absolutely crazy.
They gave me a lot more paper this time, so it could get fun.
Start writing stuff down. That's really exciting. No more throwing of the paper.
Okay.
But if you guys enjoy what you do see here today, be sure to tune in tomorrow as well to actually see the team grand final play out. But before we get ahead of it, let's just jump right into some gameplay.
I'm down.
I am down to get this one started.
Actually, you know what? Let's go back to players real quick. I think we skipped another line. We're really good at that today.
Yeah, we really are.
So a couple more players that we're going to want to watch out for. Definitely Adrian. Somebody was talking about Adrian. Adrian definitely wants to win a solo event, taking second at TwitchCon. I'm sure that he would love to correct that and take down a first place today.
Yeah, first place would be huge, but second place wouldn't be bad as well. But I'm pretty sure he had a line about the second place last time around. I think he made it pretty clear he does want that first.
Yeah, no. All these guys absolutely want the first place money. I mean, you're not going to be too sad with second. Except for Isco. Isco, when they took down second at Fight for the Crown as a team, I know that he just wants wins. All he wants to do is win, and I expect him to try and get that done today.
You mentioned Isco as this huge slayer, right? But do you think that there is anyone in particular who may come out, not even be thinking about placement, just trying to slay heavy to get that bounty flowing?
There's going to be a couple guys in here that'll play fairly aggressive. I think Isco's probably going to be the one that's most aggressive out of this group. But we do have some guys that have slayed out fairly hard, like Zach. He did really well. I believe Milky Day during the qualifiers was absolutely going after everything, and he was mostly shotgun kills, which the shotgun is one of those items that players kind of go back and forth on, but it is absolutely showing up here on land.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things is we got to see Milky Day earlier today in those team matches, but he can't really use the shotgun as much there, just with the difference between fives and solos. So now when he comes back here today, he can potentially break out that weapon again and slay really hard.
Yeah, and he still showed today that he's lethal still with that AR. He's still very good with the range. He's not a one-trick pony. He can do it all. So we'll see if that translates over into the finals or if maybe the pressure gets to him.
I'm really happy that it is going to be 3 games, though, for this grand final. I mean, that was one of the things that we saw even in the qualifiers, having those 2 games. We saw dropped take first place, but then he had a game right after that where he didn't place nearly as high. But because of the fact that there were 2, still manages to qualify here today.
Yeah, and we weren't there to see what happened to drop in the second game, so I'm not sure if maybe he was just comfortable enough knowing that he got first, because first basically guaranteed you to land in that top 20 when the scores combined. I'm wondering if maybe he just went in and kind of took a fight to begin with. I didn't get to talk to him about it.
I mean, when we actually talk about him as a player, too, this guy is one of those young guns. This is his first major event. He comes in, initially gets picked up by Rogue before he's even old enough to be playing at these tournaments. Shows up here, proves that he can bang with the best of them.
Yep.
The consistency is a difficult thing to accomplish, especially in H1Z1 as a younger player.
Yeah, absolutely. H1Z1 is going to be a little bit harder game to just show 100% consistency, but it's consistency over time. And so far, we've seen him be very consistent over a short period of time, playing in the online showdown and taking first place for North America, showing up here for qualifiers and just slaying out in game 1, closing that one out and taking down the first game and making it to the finals. We'll see if he can continue that momentum into the finals.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of younger players too, which is always something I do get excited about, seeing these guys get to their first tournament and playing really hard. And he's one of my favorite players going into this to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been with the community for a while, so everybody's my favorite, but he's definitely somebody that I want to see succeed and keep that momentum going, so it's going to be awesome to watch.
Let's dial it back right now and talk about these invited solo players who we haven't necessarily gotten a chance to put the spotlight on at this tournament in particular, because the names on this list are absolutely huge. What are they bringing to the table when we actually do get in and start off this first game of the solo grand finals?
Well, we've got rated from Echo Fox, who took down first place in one of the matches at TwitchCon. big. So he came in at TwitchCon, looked me dead in the eye, asked me what I was doing there on a Sunday when I was only scheduled to work Saturday. I said, I'm interviewing winners today. Says, I'm going to win. You'll be interviewing me. Wins the first match. I have to interview him. Came up to me today, said, are you interviewing people? I'm going to win. So we'll see if Radek can go ahead and predict the win again. He's a big player that absolutely can take this game down.
You actually said that there were 2 people that came up to you at this event and said, hey, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
Who was the second one?
I've had far more than 2.
People just coming up to you really
if their name is on the list somewhere, they've probably told me that they have no fear and that they're going to win this match.
We're going to have to see who can actually back up those bold claims. And one of the other people I want to talk about is Pineapples. You obviously had him on for a little bit. You had him on for about like 30 minutes in between 2 games and talked quite a bit about H1Z1 in general. I mean, he's one of these guys. He put out the guide on H1Z1. If you're at home and you're
literally
in
wrote
game,
the guide.
He actually wrote it. So if you want to step up your game a little bit, this is maybe the first time that you're watching, go check out his guide. It will help you a whole bunch, and also check him out on the social medias.
Yeah, absolutely. Check him out. Find him on his social media at Pineapples, Pineapples. And you can definitely find that guide. So if you're looking for some information on the game, he's definitely the guy to check out.
We're actually going to be bringing up a guest right now. I'll let you intro him.
I mean, this man really needs no intro. Good friend of mine here, Candyvan from Impact Gaming, who actually qualified today in his group to go to the finals tomorrow.
Someone gave him a microphone, too, but no one gave him a chair.
How'd you get that?
That stinks.
You're too tall,
How you doing, man? Welcome.
I can't really do this. It's like reverbing through the mic and it's counting you up. I can't
Can't hear me?
No, not really, no.
Bring it in real close, then.
Come on in.
That's going to be the best way to do it.
So how did you enjoy the 5-day? How did your team perform? Are you guys confident going into the finals for tomorrow?
I'd say we're pretty confident, to be brutally honest. Like, we've spent all this time, in the scrims and everything like that, and up until this point, it's been pretty confident for us and tons of wins and all of that. So it's like, going into this, we feel like the practice is there and the success is going to be there too.
So what exactly has it been like for you having this particular tournament format, right? You had those 2 qualifiers and then some of the teams are invited. How do you feel that actually stacks out for the H1Z1 Elite Series?
I would say, at least the 2-game format, I'd like a little bit more, but with the 2-game, you have to focus on placing, dude. You have to focus on placing, and I feel like we did focus on placing as KP screams at us, but I feel like we played well, and we really, we focused on center safe zone. We focused on doing what we needed to do to get to the placing and get to where we needed to be for today.
Yeah. So did you get to watch the other group play?
I watched it a little bit. I felt like their safe zones were a little bit more sporadic than ours, and that's just something you got to deal with H1.
So do you feel that your strategy would have worked with that safe zone setup? Because, I mean, we saw a huge change in that, and the safe zones in Group B ended up being very focused in the center, and we had teams like Team Caliber who played the outside, who basically didn't have to fight anybody for almost the whole game. I'd say 80% of those circles weren't even ever occupied because everybody played the center.
And that's kind of the risk you take. So you look at safe zones like the center of city or anything like that. It might work out, it might not. So you kind of take that chance. And I feel like for us, at least for the majority of the time, taking that center safe zone will work out and will at least average the points so that we can be in a position to move on within like the qualifiers and everything like that. So.
And now, for all of the people just tuning in to H1Z1 for the first time here today, anyone in particular in solos that you suggest they keep their eye on?
If I had to put it between 2 people, it would be definitely Dropkid and Isco.
Dropkid, that's going to be that young gun. Isco, going to be that heavy slayer. We already started to talk about them quite a bit. I'm really excited to see the bounties get underway, too, for the first time. How much do you think that'll actually impact gameplay, though? Or do you think players will try to shy away from it and just go for placement?
I think it's definitely going to have a factor in it. Some people, they want to go for the glory and all of that, but at the same time, when you're slaying, if you're feeling yourself and you're feeling your shot and you're feeling those 2 taps and everything, then like I know Isco's a player that plays like that. You look at the TwitchCon qualifiers last year, and then you look at how he played today in solos. If he's fragging like I know he can, I can see him, you know, not only destroying the competition, but at the same time, if he's second or third place, you kind of got those kill points too that are going to factor into it.
Yeah, it's going to go hand in hand. We kind of saw that in teams as well. You know, the team coming in first place placement-wise also really slaying heavy towards the end of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, so also with Isco, though, we were doing the math on it, and he had 8 kills in that game, and we did it, the tiebreaker. If he didn't actually get those 8 kills, he would not have broken into the top 20 and made it. So those kill points are going to matter, and he might go for more now that it's for money.
Yeah, we can't thank you enough for jumping in here and giving us your expert opinion. We hope to see you on stream very soon, maybe even again tonight. But if not, everyone will be able to watch you again soon.
Appreciate it, guys. I do.
Thanks for coming up, Candy. Have a good one.
All right. I think that means it is time to jump into this match.
I do believe that is what time we have arrived at, and we're going to go to the game in just a moment here. I am ready to get into these finals.
I am very excited, and you know what? He put the spotlight on 2 players, and we're excited to see them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got the opening drop going on right now. We've got, obviously, compared to what people were just watching recently in 5s, you can obviously see that there's a lot more spread because they aren't spawning together. So we're going to see all these players, most likely, as you can see, are all going towards the outside edge. And we're going to start this match off jumping on board with Inboxes, who appears to be trying to stretch to a farther side of the map so that he's not going to get early engagements.
Yeah, and we're also going to see a member of that Echo Fox team drop down too. It looks like we have a pretty clean break. The spread looks pretty wide here in this looting phase.
Yeah, definitely going to be a wide spread. We're not going to see a whole ton going on. Not a lot of loot there for Radic. He's going to have to probably find another building to go ahead and loot. Shurima Wizard, another just huge slayer that we might see go off here and possibly go for bounties.
Instantly getting that helmet too as well. That is going to be good for Shurima Wizard, and Shurima Wizard absolutely went off yesterday as well. Going to see if he can match that performance this time around while there is so much money on the line. This, of course, is going to be the first out of 3 games in this grand final. We've done it every game so far, though. Got to make that call. Where do you think the first safe zone is going to be?
Oh, man. I only do the
Pleasant
first half
Valley.
right.
It's going to be Pleasant Valley.
Pleasant
It's going to
Valley.
be in Pleasant Valley.
So what's that? We've done about 8 games, and you've guessed about 8 times. I think you're on PV still. I'm going to go ahead and go north of PV. I'm really bad at this west-east thing, and I'll let you pick that half.
I mean, I already picked. I think it's going to be PV slightly skewed to the
Then
west.
I guess I'm
this time
choosing
around.
west. Northwest.
We're getting things underway. Flame Hopper, though, going to pick up that truck very quickly here. And we talked about this vehicle a lot so far today. Some changes coming in. It's going to be really strong in these areas where there are a lot of fences and destructible items that it can barrel on through. Seeing some players here getting very close. Decides to pop out of that truck, though, and start the looting. There's Zach. He had a great performance yesterday as well.
Yeah, taking down first place in the Group A stage. Or might have been Group B. I think it was Group B,
Group
actually.
B
yeah, so
yesterday.
Zach took down first in Group B yesterday. So he might have made a statement and let these guys know that he's going to show up today in the solos.
Looks like he's getting some pretty decent loot here as well. When he pops out, we'll see if he has actually gotten a vehicle yet at this point in the game. And that's going to be a big factor as well. Those vehicles being very important early on, especially when you do need to get to that first safe zone.
And these players are very close. That door being open is going to let Zach know that there is somebody in the area. BMR, who absolutely went off yesterday with the shotgun, took a lot of close range engagements, and we see Zach and him starting to square up. I believe they both actually spotted each other, and we'll see if Zach decides to take the fight. He is just going to back up off of that as BMR tries to throw a couple shots his way. He's just going to continue and disengage.
And those are pretty much free shots for him to take as well. But we are already seeing that not all players are necessarily just going to dive in on these bounties. We still have all 60 players remaining. Placement seems to be king here in the grand finals, and that makes a lot of sense with $100,000 on the line. Definitely want to be playing for the biggest pot that you can, and you want to leave yourself with a lot of lines of play.
I see a name across the way there, about 170 meters away. Tixi, relatively unknown. I've heard that he's about a 16-year-old Belgian who made it over here and just lit up the end of the match yesterday for game 4 and just went off as he ran through about the last 4 to 5 players.
Hey, I think I was kind of right, huh? Close enough.
You were right.
Close enough.
I mean, you guess it enough times, you're finally going to hit it.
Well, it looks like we are going to get it, but now looking at the map right now, what does the positioning say to you? Anything in particular that you want to highlight for everyone at home?
There's definitely a large chance of us getting a PV safe zone in the actual end circle there. It's taking up about half the circle, so if it pulls east at all, it should start centering on itself, and we're most likely going to see a finish at that point inside of the warehouses, which can be really interesting and see how the players handle it, because there's a ton of explosive barrels and other things that can really affect the gameplay in that area.
Yeah, we haven't really seen a city finish yet today, and all the time, the different safe zones that you get, the different rings that you do see in H1Z1 are dramatically going to affect the way that the game plays out. You're going to be in very different terrain, and today we saw a lot of action going down in the fields. I think we saw a finish over by Ranchito. We saw one way down south by the lake, but this time it looks like we may actually start to see some action go down in some buildings. Maybe see some peak fire, maybe see some shotgun play. Excited to see this one play out. Saw Milky Day there for a second. He is one of those players too that is really filthy with that shotgun. Now on board though with Flamehopper. Yeah, haven't gotten to see him in a little bit.
Yeah, Flamehopper qualified in on both sides, so did not have to play through the actual qualifiers. He was pre-invited to the events, and he has only found a pistol so far, so he is definitely not ready to go. He needs to travel around a little bit more, find a bit more loot, and get himself set up. And it looks like Big K has decided after getting that player down to about 50%, he's going to disengage and try and get himself to a rooftop. That rooftop that he is at should be in the safe zone. I expect him to probably play the top of it, much like Measley there did with the Ranchito safe zone yesterday.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Measley the second I saw that name. He was one of those guys who kind of had a bad beat yesterday. He finds that perfect place to hang out on top of the roof. Really good sight on the entirety of the field, but when that gas came in, he got pushed off, and ultimately he ran right into the gun of another player. Now, for everyone at home, we're going from the sky every ring, and they have quite a lot of resources that these players do want to go to, but a lot of the time it's going to end up being the centerpiece for a bloodbath.
Yeah, it's a high risk, high reward situation. You're either going to get at least a 2-hit laminated armor out of it, or you're going to get a hunting rifle. Both of those big power items that you definitely want to have, but you are putting yourself at extreme risk to go and acquire those items.
Yeah, those laminated armors going to soak up 2 shots that go into the body, but that hunting rifle is able to tear right through them and helmets as well. One of the most dangerous weapons that you can see. And
or you can get both. That works too. So they're actually going to pull both the laminated and the hunting rifle. That is a very, very nice pickup here. And we do see a player going for it already and getting shot at. 2 players here. So it looks like Apex Shay from Epsilon, and I didn't catch the other one's name. It looks like it was Reptar possibly.
Yeah, well, Apex Shay actually going to drop that smoke, not to loot it, but to retreat. 2 highly contested here. You got to value your life, especially when only 1 player has been taken out of this match. Zach now in that bottom portion of your screen. You saw Pineapple's name there as well. Pineapple's obviously qualified. He's one of those invited players, so we haven't seen him play through any of the qualifying matches. Zach able to take first place in one of them. 2 Titans nearby in this neighborhood, moving from house to house, trying to get as much loot as possible. The question is, was anyone able to take anything out of this crate? The smoke still on the screen. That was used for a retreat. We may see a smoke actually hit the crate at some point so someone can kind of sneak around and get the loot while in the safety of the smoke.
Yeah, I think Reptar's actually going to make a play to try and come back after he saw the other player go drive off. That's going to give him a couple seconds here to hop in, get everything out of it, and get out. Doesn't even need to smoke it off, and he's definitely going to get that hunting rifle. It looks like there was something else in there that he still wants. He's going to go back and grab that item. And we got some shots coming out from Jerk versus Shurima, 2 of the bigger slayers within the community. These 2 Titans do not want to run into each other right now.
Now look at this movement too coming in from Jerk Chicken. Honestly, just going to move away from Shurima Wizard, not trying to contest that yet. Relatively bad fight, no big payoff. Creating that space is going to be big, but we may have an inevitable showdown between Blood Inferno and Zeeth right now.
Yeah, we're definitely, it looks like Zeeth is actually stalking Blood Inferno, and he might try to take him out of the pickup truck. He is going to open up. Shots are going to ring out. Able to connect a couple shots into Blood. Actually gets him down to about 60%, and Blood Inferno is going to be able to drive away and get out of there, though.
Yeah, getting Blood Inferno down a little bit. Zeeth still seems to be relatively hot in pursuit, but Blood Inferno able to create a lot of space while inside of that vehicle. Zeeth now going to move around and loot. More shots coming in. As we can see, Apex Shay ultimately got Reptar down. Now, if you remember, those were the two players around that crate. It seems like that battle did not end well for the player who was taken out, and ultimately we saw a lot of people hanging out near that crate, and we talked about it being one of those highly contested areas. A lot of resources, but also a lot of danger to take them. And remember, you can actually visit the watch page right now and see up-to-date stats, see the players as they get taken down, and also you can just watch the stream there.
Yeah, you'll be able to get everything there, and that's at h1z1.com/watch. But let's go back to Apex Shay for a second there. Doesn't get the crate, goes away. Reptar ends up running back into him, gets the kill on him, and ends up getting those power items. He ends up taking him out with a head tap. So he's going to get both the laminated armor and the hunting rifle, plus a kill with the bounty system in place.
Yeah, that's $100 and a bunch of loot. This is not bad.
Yeah,
not bad for a Saturday.
I mean, it's an okay kill.
We're going to stick to Shurima Wizard for a little bit here and then look at our map. It is closing in nice and tight, and as we can see, players starting to migrate. We have a few outliers, though, here, and one of them is actually going to be Inboxes.
Yeah, Inbox is definitely in a spot, riding in with the gas, played the outside edge, as we said that he was trying to stretch at the beginning of the match, secure himself some loot, and it does look like he has a vehicle. He is outrunning the gas just barely there, and he has the safest side of the zone right now. There's actually nobody else up there. He doesn't have anybody coming up behind him. He should be able to get into a fairly good position from there.
Not the same story on the west side of the map. We can see the players who were a little bit farther away on that west side of the map. Someone's gonna bump into one of the other players when they actually try to make their way inside of the ring. That could be a place where we see a few bodies fall. Right now, only 2 players have been taken out.
Yep, and boxes, here he is, and he's coming into the safe zone, so he does have a cop car. He should be able to be very mobile.
Yeah, he's
going to try and basically stay out of the fight as much as he can. He did a great job at TwitchCon doing so, taking first and second, so he is a very, very consistent player, been a titan and a legend within the community since as far back as I can remember.
Yeah, it's been a while since we actually did watch any solos matches. Obviously, been doing a lot of teams today. We should talk about how the meta actually does play out for anyone who hasn't necessarily been watching or needs a refresher.
Yeah, so these games, as we said, going into this, is going to play out fairly slow in the beginning. As we're seeing, we still got 58 players left alive. They're just going to loot slowly to start the match. Go into this mid-game, starts right about the time that this first circle closes in completely. Once that gas closes in, these players are going to start looking for positions to hold to make it to the end game. And we see a player coming up onto Nightwalker, hears the footsteps, and immediately jumps back down. So Geet's actually going to back out of there, making a good decision to get away from Nightwalker.
Yeah, Geets doesn't want to take that fight just yet. Now being a little bit parkour, really taking full advantage.
Sneaky.
Yeah, this is a sneaky move by him. Going to jump down, though, straight into that car. He does take a little bit of fall damage, not maybe hitting that interact button quite as quickly as he could. Geets, though, you're talking about him being one of the players that wasn't necessarily receiving all of the praise that Geet should.
Geets is somebody that's very new to me as of this event. Is not somebody that I'm really, really familiar with, but he does show up and makes it into the finals, so he's definitely somebody that we need to keep an eye on.
Now, a little bit of a skirmish going on here. We're going to be looking at Chop It Down and Gabe Isman. These guys not really wanting to invest too much into each other yet. Going to put some distance with their vehicles, but Chop It Down going to make sure that he is in the clear right now. Gabe Isman is still relatively close to him. But now on with Drop. This is one of the first times we're going to be able to take a look at this young gun, able to win his first qualifying game yesterday. And also, Ninja, that was one of our invited players. He just went down to gas.
Yeah, Ninja goes down to the gas. Not sure what happened. He may have been in a fight along the edge. We'll have to see what happens afterwards. I mean, goes down.
One of the big questions always is, hey, obviously you have a huge advantage by qualifying, guaranteed that you do qualify. But if you don't get to play in those early games, if you haven't actually played on those rigs yet, is there a chance that you're a little bit cold? It's not your rig from home. You have to adjust to it a little bit. You have to actually figure out how to drop in on these shots. You need to figure out how much to lead. You got to get a good feel for it. And also, this isn't the most comfortable environment for some of these players. You got a giant audience watching every single move that you make, and you're playing for a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure going to land. Some of these guys do have the experience both in live events and pre-recorded events, so There's a few of them here that have definitely had some experience and possibly experience in other games, but for some of these new guys, they've at least shown up, made it through, and shown that they were confident enough in the qualifiers section. They're going to be a little bit warmer than the guys that were invited, but I do know that people like Piney and others
Is Chapadown taking this fight?
did go ahead and play some warm-up games.
Is Chapadown going to try to take this fight? We can see Huskers is down to about 25% health here. Chapadown had one shot sunk into him. This may be the bounties into effect. We talk about us moving into the mid game, but these two cars in hot pursuit, Chapadown being the aggressor here. Huskers has been able to get quite a lot of distance, now potentially moving into the safety of this building. That will allow him to pre-aim with something like a shotgun.
Huskers actually pre-nading, expecting to be chased, blows up his own vehicle though. At least gives him another second to get to the bathroom, and we'll see if Choppa goes ahead and chases this. Choppa is a very aggressive player who's played at the top of the leaderboards in a large number of the preseason so far in the online leaderboards.
He's got the helmet, he's got the makeshift to protect him, but his health bar is not going to do much in the way of keeping him up. Expect to see a little bit of the bathroom gamer from him.
I mean, sometimes bathroom gaming is the right option there, and that car is going to tick itself down from the fire damage and blow up. He will be stuck there, at least without a vehicle. So Choppa putting a player into a situation they don't want to be in, and they're going to be at a lot more risk having to run to safe zones once that circle starts to close in.
Yeah, and if you notice, Choppa's not there anymore. He wasn't necessarily going for that kill, but taking some resources away from his enemy. Now on board with Blood Inferno inside of this truck. Not exactly the best car to be getting, but like we mentioned, if this does move into a residential area or somewhere with fences, it could be a good car to have, being somewhat of a tank here. Now looking at this ring, you can see Pleasant Valley is going to be kind of out of the question as the final battle. It does start to skew quite far away from it. Maybe we can clip that eastern portion. We have quite a few players in the middle, just a few hanging out in the outskirts.
Yeah, absolutely. If this zone continues to center upon itself, we're going to see it go to one of the newer POIs that's up on top, just west out of PV on top of the hill. It's turned into somewhat of a car junkyard, you could say. And
yeah, you could definitely call it that. That looks like a bunch of cars in a junky fashion. So we will call it the car junkyard for now, but we're seeing that young gun again, and now jumping on board with one of the guys we expect to slay the hardest here. Few shots ringing out right now. Nothing too aggressive at this point. Only 3 players have been removed from contention.
Yeah, nobody really wants to get in a hard engagement here. Choppa, I actually thought might chase that one down. Choppa being that aggressive player, if anybody was going to do it, it would have been him. But he's still playing very smart, and Splintexify actually going to eliminate Choppa as we're talking about him with an assist from CBK Flame from Echo Fox, helping him out on that one.
We didn't actually get to see that fight, but the main question that I do have is, was Chapadown maybe following this aggressive path even further? We did see him start to contest someone all the way, pushing them inside of a building. And while this ring is just continuing to center on itself, getting smaller and smaller. Now on board with Flame, we saw that he did get that pinch a little bit earlier to actually take out the other player inside of his smoke right now. Wants to shrug off this player from Epsilon, healing himself back up to full.
Yeah, Splint actually in that engagement stole that kill from Flame and took away $100. He stole money from him.
So he was actually the one to get the pinch, and yeah, that pinch is going to be worth a little bit of money. Some salt in the wound there for sure.
Yeah,
because not only is it money, it's actually placement points as well. It's going to be 1,000 of those. Good line from Soar Teenage here, trying to sink a couple of shots into Anonymous. And now we're back online with this crate. This is going to be another one dropped from that air supply, and we see there is a Lammy inside.
Yeah, open field though, around a POI, not much cover around, didn't land in a forest.
Yeah, you could get smoked going for that one.
Yeah, very much like the first one we saw. It's probably going to be a harder one to grab unless everybody just avoids it, but there's players in the area. I don't know if this one's going to get grabbed the way that the first one did.
Well, looking at Flame's movement, do you think he's going to circle around it, try to scout it out and go for it, or is he just moving along his merry way here?
No, Flame's not going to go for it. Flame's definitely a slayer, but he tends to be somebody that likes to play the outside edge. Being in the middle where he is right now is actually very surprising to me. He typically likes to play the outside edge or even play in the gas for quite a while and let everybody else just go ahead and eliminate each other and then come up and play cleanup duty.
You can see those shots just a little bit late, trailing behind. Gates, though, gonna take out Blood Inferno. We were watching Blood Inferno a little bit earlier on. We did see Blood Inferno ultimately qualify in Group B. We saw quite a lot out of him yesterday, but he is going to be going home from this first game. There are still 2 more, though, in the grand finals. And just as a slight refresher, the way that we are actually going to determine our winner is based off of these points. Your placement in each of the 3 games is going to be a huge factor, and then each kill worth 1,000 points.
Yeah, absolutely, and we saw those 1,000 points, though when you look at the grand scale of it versus 175,000 points for first, it doesn't really add up to a lot, but it definitely comes down to it when you land in those bubble positions, and we saw Isco bump his way up, like we said earlier, into the finals simply off the fact that he just killed everyone.
Yeah, that is definitely true. It's been really important in those bubble positions. You know, you see someone in 18th place maybe jump up to something like 16th, 15th, 14th. So you definitely can jump up, but that first place is obviously going to be that most coveted prize here in this H1Z1 Grand Final Series.
Hansen here is actually a newer player to me. So while a lot of these guys were practicing that were on the invite list for teams, he was still playing in the online Champions Arenas, which had a few less people, and I got to watch this guy play quite a few games, and he's very, very consistent. It's awesome to see that guy show up who is an unknown, make it through qualifiers, and he's here playing in the finals today.
We are seeing much more players around this perimeter. You already started to talk about it, but in 5s, we saw those teams try to gravitate towards the center. It looks like the strategy playing out a little bit differently in solos definitely does make sense, but as this ring starts to close in on itself, now we are jumping into an engagement, and we are going to see Lordy dropping down to about half health, trying to med himself up. Some throwables coming out from Geets. While we're watching this one, we're going to see Radak, who we watched at the beginning. Oh, beautiful frag. Going to bring down Jordy.
Yeah, Razar also going to drop there to a headshot from Nightwalker. So we lose 2 more players, and we are down to 52. And a gift has just landed inside of the junkyard here. We'll see if somebody decides to go for it. Nobody really in the area from this angle that we can see. And it does have a lot of hard cover around it. We'll see if he decides to go for it. He might poke his head out of that warehouse now that he's hearing the bombs come by.
PYD, this is the Asian team, and we are seeing them represented here today. Oh, this is a beautiful fight going on here, about even. Whoever connects next is going to take it, and it ultimately is going to be Flame. Crumb off in the distance, going to be able to bring down Calzy.
Yeah, those close-range shotgun battles get really sketchy sometimes, and you've got to land those flick shots while both players are basically doing what we like to call enassing, and they basically just do the alligator run trying to get away from you. And Flame able to dodge every shot there and get a clean kill.
A single shot would have brought either of those players down at that moment. And this is a weapon that we've talked about quite a bit, whether or not it was going to be important as we get into the solos. And as we're seeing, we're getting in these tighter and tighter situations with how the gas has actually fallen. And that is going to be huge. And now we're looking into this third crate, another rifle and a Lammy.
Yeah, another big one there. Medkit also, just in case you're running low on it. And BMR, player that went off yesterday, almost all shotguns. I'm not sure if I saw an AR kill out of him yesterday, but he's shown that he can get an AR kill here today.
And if you think that it's starting to be a lot of kills now, just wait as this ring collapses on itself. We are going to start to see a lot more kills. Lucky, Big K going to go down to the hands of Nightwalker.
Yeah, still an early circle here. Nightwalker not worried at all. Most likely has enough med kits and bandages to go ahead and work his way out of the gas, and he'll slowly run out, but he gets a clean kill there. That's the patient play that we talk about. We want to see a player, if you stock a player properly, you should be able to open up and be so far ahead, but by the time they turn on you, they can't fight their way out of it.
And that is definitely a winning way to go about it. Hurrah now going to be the one that we are looking at, giving himself some pretty decent cover here. We are definitely progressed pretty far into this mid game. Now Shurima Wizard going to be the player that we watch, and we're starting to see a lot of these players moving deeper and deeper into cover, really prioritizing their position beyond all else. And look at that health bar in the middle of your screen. It is quite low, trying to see if there are any players contesting him. Zach going to take down Shurima Wizard. That is absolutely huge. Shurima Wizard being one of the guys that we really did want to stress earlier in the day, but Zach able to contest him while in cover. Beautiful play by him, and look, the kill feed starting to light up here.
Yeah, we're going to lose Viva and BMR, who we were just talking about from yesterday, and he's going to drop there, and we've got a fight here. It looks like it's between Adrian and Noah 2-Tap. No, a 5-tap.
Brought down Rogue. Teenage going to bring down another player as well. We're already down to 43. It's going to start to collapse in on itself very soon as well. Nice throwable coming out from Noah, going to scare the player off of the tree. Now it's going to be Grimmy Bear to find Zeeth. And this fight isn't over yet with Noah. He's trying to find a line on his man. Pineapples is going to be taken down. Pineapples is one of those players that we were waiting to see something from. He did qualify early.
Drop Kid going off, taking out another legend off of the Korea team in Gas Runner. And we're going to see Zach get taken out as he comes in that door to try and find a place to heal. Not safe enough. And then we're going to lose Teenage and Milky Day as well.
Yeah, we're already down to 35 here, and we're going to start seeing all these fights. This is Teasy. This is one of these breakout players from this particular tournament, and we're going to see he has the gas and the rock for cover, trying to get some shots into Doug is Raw. Doug is Raw decides this isn't a good fight for him. He's going to move out, finds another player inside of the vehicle, going to try to sink some shots. This is going to be the smoke, going to try to heal himself up from that protection, and you can see the way that he's actually moving around it. He wants to make sure he protects himself from a gas. He's staying around the perimeter, hoping that he won't be hit by any throwable or frag that could actually land inside of it, going to bandage itself up just fine. Now we're taking that bird's eye view, and as you can see, it's Trans getting some shots into Hurrah.
Yeah, Hurrah running with no helmet. This is the worst feeling in the game to not have a helmet, especially with players of this caliber where 75, maybe 80% of their kills are coming from connecting to the head.
Don't need a helmet if you can one pump though. Will we see Hurrah be able to do it? Moving around in a frisky fashion, gonna have to jump back into the building, and Trans going to knock off the armor from this player, but can Trans finish it up? Just seconds away from finding it. And we are going to see a retreat outside of the building. FPS going to fall off elsewhere onto the map, but this fight is getting intense. Trans trying to close this one out.
And Trans gonna get taken out there. Hurrah actually plays it out and gets it. Earlier, and Noah actually traded earlier in that event, and Aladdin gonna land himself killed there as well.
Look at this frag. Is this going to be enough to do it? It does connect, not enough to actually kill. Oh, the third one comes in. Will it finish off this player from the Asian squad? The answer is no, but Kyrie staying close, knows that it's not in the kill feed, investing another throwable. We're going to see another smoke come out, but Kyrie going to send Illusion out of this game. Geets following up with Isco. This is the guy that we were talking about being one of those massive slayers, and we barely see him light up that kill feed. The bounties are prime for the taking. Now back on board with Hurrah. We already saw what this player can do with no helmet, and now with Olami, what will Hurrah be able to do? And just missing this player Flame in a dangerous position, moving into the gas, trying to pre-med. Hurrah knows that he is there, decides not to follow. Now it's going to be Ashton who finds Hurrah. Hurrah needs to go about this dance very carefully. Gas closing in. Will it be enough to cloak Hurrah? Oh. There it is. We are going to see Ashton get taken down. Hurrah is on absolute fire and starting to take this bounty money.
Yeah, CBK Flame here actually narrowly escapes, dips into the gas as I was talking about. He's very comfortable playing the gas and understands it well. Makes it away, ends up dodging Hurrah, who thought that he went the other direction. Hurrah instead finds somebody else to take out, but then Gabe Isman's gonna come and take him out, and dropped, taking out Tixie, who went off yesterday. Geets with a third or fourth kill of the game on a Jerk Chicken. P90 drops Crumb, then gets picked up by Mountain FPS. Aladdin takes down Howie, and then dropped goes down to Doug is Raw.
We are going to see all of the names that we talked about potentially winning this fall to each other. An absolute brawl going down. Now CBK Flame is going to try to heal himself up. This game might be his for the taking.
Lose inboxes to the toxic gas. Flame here pretty low. He definitely needs to heal up. If he gets hit with a shotgun right now, he will go down. Kyrie getting lit all the way down to 25%, trying to heal up, and it looks like he is going to go down to Monster, and Gabe is going to find Anonymous.
Now Flame in an awkward position, going to have to invest a lot of his smoke here. Gets in the vehicle, needs to dash. We are going to see Gabe Isman in a prime position here. Grimmy Bear going to be able to take out a member from that Asian team, PYD, and we are down to just 16. This is going to be our top 20. This is when it's going to start to get very real. Kyrig now hanging out in his smoke, and we have the bird's eye view of all of the players right now left remaining. You got to give it up for them. Geets going to be able to take out 10K. CBK Flame going to hop out, going to take this fight, moving around the rock, and he is going to be able to take out Splint.
Yeah, Splint gonna go down to the shotgun there of CBK Flame, and we're gonna jump back on board with Mountain from Mocket, and we'll see if he can find somebody through this smoke. It looks like he's just trying to work his way in, a little bit off the edge of the safe zone. Flame getting opened on there, but he does have a vehicle, and he's gonna make it out. And then we have Aladdin coming by. Doug is raw, looking for an angle to get a shot. Not gonna be able to find it as Aladdin dips into the gas in his vehicle.
Doug is all dancing around that stream. CBK still hasn't been able to get up to full health, finding some good shots onto Keith. That is going to be some armor popped off of him right now. He gets into that cop car, needs to move around this gas. A little bit too nervous to get the heels going. Here we go. We are going to see that throwable come out from him. There's the smoke. This is going to be his cover. This is his opportunity to heal up. As we can see, Prox is also low, jumping on board with him. He's in that fight with Rogue Sweet Dreams. This is going to be a peak fire fight. But jumping on with Gates, he's going to close that space onto Nightwalker. Nightwalker looking to, oh, he is going to be able to take him out. But then the trade comes in. Grimmy Bear closing that one out.
Yeah, Grimmy coming in and then picking up another kill directly onto CBK Flame. Grimmy eliminating 2 players, netting some money and some extra points. Sweet Dreams gonna go down to Prox.
It's our top
with
10.
A head tap, and we got an assist there from Mountain, who was involved, and it looks like Doug is raw. Might end up in a pinch play, but takes out 50 Shades before Gabe Isman is able to make a play on him. And we're gonna see a hop monster taking down Gabe, and then STD Doug is raw taking him out as well.
They barely get to enjoy their time in that top 10 before they are cut short. Prox gonna be able to drop this throwable, and he is shaking things up, but it's not gonna be enough. Mountain FPS going to be able to take him down. That flash did not accomplish much there. Now we are back on with Mountain FPS. He was the one who just popped up in your kill feed, and he has eyes onto this player from World's Best Gaming, sinking some shots into that vehicle. Now out behind that rock, and we are going to see Mountain FPS hot in pursuit. He also does have this truck for cover. Going to peek out though here, getting some shots in, but he peeks out too far. Aladdin going to be able to get him in the back. Now it is Gorani who we are watching inside of this car, and it is on fire. He needs to get out as it is degrading. Doug is raw, being an absolute assassin into this fight with Flame.
Yeah, Flame Hopper here gonna have to be forced in, and Mountain gonna come in looking for the kill, but Doug is gonna pick him up. Mountain trying to make a big play and just come in and clean up 2 players, and then Gorani's gonna drop Doug, and we are down to 2 players. We are gonna see Aladdin versus Gorani finishing out this first match. Aladdin already behind, just above 50% health, decides to throw a toss out a throwable here onto Gorani, who's gonna play out of the smoke. We'll see if Gorani can find an angle here. This is gonna be an odd fight, just peak battles. We should see a few more throwables. Best throwable's gonna possibly win the game here.
We see that go out, no connection. Gorani dancing with these trees, but as you can see, the space has closed. Another one going to come out. Gorani going to try to move around it, getting that peak fire, trying to get these shots in. Whoever wins this takes first place. Some shots, but no connection yet. That's going to be the helmet. Gorani going to take a shot as well. Another helmet inside his backpack. Going to throw that on immediately. Going to try to heal himself up. A little bit of patience here, though. The players running out of throwables. That's going to be another helmet that we see. This time it's off the head of Aladdin. Looks like he had another one to throw back onto his head. Gorani here has a helmet of his own. Moving around the trees, trying to close the space. We're going to see a connection. Down to 50% for Aladdin. Another one going to connect right there, but Gorani's helmet is off. They are back even in this. Maybe one extra shot into Aladdin. He may be up by 1. Now closing the space. Aladdin gonna go down. Gorani going to take first place in this first game of the grand final. Give it up for him. And if you ask me if we were gonna see either of those players in that final skirmish, I would not have guessed it. And they both look absolutely phenomenal. Some seriously good positioning and patience coming out of both of these players. Gotta give it up for their discipline.
I think we have found one of the owners of World's Best Gaming. I think she's pretty excited here after watching one of her boys take down game 1. And we have a ton of World Best fans here in the front row, or in the first couple rows here. And Aladdin kind of in a tough situation there with a gas against his back, realizes that he's ahead at the first shot, decides to go ahead and try and make the push, forced to make that play. But anytime you get into 9 out of 10 times you're going to lose that fight. It's really hard to press one of these players that can peak that easily.
Before we actually go in and recap all of that action that came in this first grand final day, let's actually talk about what they are playing for here. It's going to be $25K on the line for that first place position, $15K for second, $12K for third, and then it goes down from there, 8K, 6K, 4K, 3, 3, 2, 2. So the big thing is, though, is getting this first place finish in that first game. That's going to be 175K placement points, and then every single kill, that's going to be an additional 1,000.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to see Guarani actually only land 2 kills that game, and it was all he needed. He took down the last 2 players left alive with him. However, story of the game for at least the bounty system, Doug, taking out 6 players, nets himself $600 plus 6,000 placement points, which might help him later if maybe him and Guarani trade places at the end. That might be the bonus to push him into that first place position.
And currently he is in the lead for taking home $3,000. And that's the amount of money that you actually take for 7th and 8th place. So if he's able to just slay out, he basically gets one of those really high finishes without getting it. And there you are, going to see Drazzle on your screen for a second there, giving us that quick little eyebrow flare. Thank you very much for that. You don't get that in game very often. But now looking at our leaderboards, this is going to be huge. Those placement points are going to be absolutely massive for the next 2 games that are going to come up here.
Yeah, another 2 players that went off that game. Grimmy landing himself $400 in bounties, and we've seen a 5 kills come up out of Geets. So Geets, as I was saying, was somebody that's very new to me, but showed up and slayed out, landing himself at the minimum. He's going to walk out of here with $500 for his trip.
I have to bring up the fact some of the invited solo players did get taken out very early. Do you think some of them may be cold? I mean,
could it be cold?
That's the biggest question.
Yeah, it could be cold, but I always like to say it is H1. H1 is a game about consistency, so that's why this is a 3-game format. You might have a bad beat, kind of like poker, get rivered out. But we'll see how they are able to pick up and play those parts in the next 2 matches.
And they do definitely have a chance, exactly, with these next 2 matches. All of them are going to count for a lot here. We talk about Dropped and the way that he actually qualified, playing quite well in this first game of the grand final. So we want to see a lot more out of this young gun as we progress through these games. But when we talk about his qualifying matches, he takes first place in the first one, and then he has that bad beat that you're talking about in the second game, but he still has made it here to that grand final. And we could very easily see someone just pick up first place in these 2 next games. Not very easily, but we could see someone pick up first place in these next 2 games. And even if they came in dead last here, they would still be having a serious chance at that first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you drop 2 first, you're taking it down.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody else can play back from that. If somebody could do what Echo Fox did in team qualifiers today, they're basically guaranteed walking out of here with money.
And that is not going to be an easy thing to do at all. We already know that.
It's much harder to do in the solo environment versus a 5s, where it's you versus 59 rather than your team versus 11.
Anything in particular that really surprised you, though, in this first game of the solo grand final?
I don't know if I was necessarily surprised, just because I expect to see the unexpected in H1 occur. But I loved seeing some of the plays. I loved watching Flame make that getaway into the gas and end up dodging that fight. And instead, Ashton comes through, and Haraz looking for Flame instead catches Ashton, and Ashton catches the Wrath.
We had a lot of really good pinches that time around, but I will say it played out a lot slower than even the qualifying matches did. We saw them scrimming. They're obviously playing really fast because they want to be testing their shots. They want to figure out exactly what they can do, and they want to be practicing for these final engagements on the map when it matters the most, and that's what you get to do in scrims. Then we jump into the qualifying games. It slows down a little bit. Here, now there's a lot on the line with bounties, but it seems like everyone really trying to go for the placement. I can't blame them.
I can't blame them either.
$100,000 of prize money on the line, and first place going to be taking 25K of that, going to be taking a quarter of that home. Now, we talk about things that were a little unsuspected. What was your favorite fight or kill of this previous game?
Oh, there were so many good
keep
fights
putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you're going to keep pressing me here. And I don't know why, but I keep going back to Flame. I liked seeing that early fight. He just played very consistently. He did a lot of good there, but Geets, some of these other guys, I like seeing the unknowns show up and make a name for themselves. So seeing Geets be able to get that many kills in a final, and I hadn't really heard of him before the qualifiers, making it and playing that confidently, under pressure in the finals with some of these big Titan names in the community, that's big.
Yeah, and we could see more of Geets coming in these next matchups, but let's recap what actually went down in that final safe zone.
So that final safe zone definitely was just it went from open field straight into tree fights. We saw a lot of players try to make plays. Actually, one of my favorite moments, Mountain just blaring in, hops out, goes for an absolute cod rush looking for 2 players, ends up getting cleaned up. But seeing somebody actually go for that was awesome to watch.
Well, let's see how those final moments of the gameplay are going to affect our scoreboard here. As you can see, it's going to be Gorani at the top of that scoreboard, followed up by Aladdin and Doug is Raw.
Yeah, Doug is Raw, going to take that 3rd place. Mountain still going out in 4th. Has to feel good there. 2 players from CLG going out in 5th and 6th. Flamehopper and Grimmy, not new names to the community. Everybody knows them. 10K, somebody that we didn't talk about a lot, though. Still in that top 20, lands at 17th. Dropped, coming out in 20th place. We'll see if he can step up and maybe perform the same way he did yesterday during Game 1 of Group A.
Yeah, we will have to see what Dropped can do, but keep your eye on these top 6 players. That 100K range of points is always massive from that first game, but there is plenty of chance for even the players who are not in this top 20 to qualify in these next 2 games. A lot of points still up for grabs.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some people that are actually missing from this list that we've talked about. People like Illusions, who's a big player out of the Asian region, ends up going down early, doesn't crack into the top 20. We saw a couple of those guys kind of get eliminated much earlier than we expected.
Yeah, but we did get to see them go down, which is always nice. I mean, if they're going to get sent home, I want to see it. So that was a lot of fun. And when I say sent home, I just mean from that game. Obviously, they are all going to be back in these next 2 games as well. So we will see what they can do. But as we talk about how that final ring actually affected the scoreboard, let's actually talk about how different it can be in the next games if we see that safe zone land in a different spot. What if we see it in an area that's more open or with more buildings? Do you think certain players may excel in that particular situation?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely those players that are shotgun guys that like those close range encounters. They play well under them. They have good flick shots. We saw them play through people like Milky Day, who was very consistent with it during the qualifiers and showed up in that city type safe zone where that's the only type of fight you're gonna get really. So if we go back to a city safe zone, which I'd like to see, and as I always say, the players don't necessarily always want to be in there because it's more pressure there, but
we want to watch it.
I want to watch it. I like seeing the different levels and seeing if people can pay attention and be aware of their surroundings to the point that they're looking up, they're checking all windows. That's something that you don't see in these normal final safe zones. Everybody's at ground level. Having people at other levels makes for a little bit more situational awareness coming into play.
Now, when we actually do talk about that first game, obviously, Gorani does manage to come into first place. Only 2 kills up on the board. Talk about that performance with me. What exactly enabled Gorani to take that first place?
He managed to make his moves into the safe zone at the right time, finding areas and not really giving away his position that often. He didn't take a fight unless he absolutely had to. As we can see, he really only took a fight with the last 2 players. And that's sometimes a little scary for some players. Some players, when you get to that end and you haven't fired a shot for 30 minutes, because we're coming 30 minutes towards the end of the match, your gun's cold. But it's not cold for him. He was able to just turn on and take out those last 2 and clutch up game 1.
And we talk about Gorani being one of those invited solo players as well. That could also mean the gun is very cold, not getting to play in these qualified matchups, proving that that wasn't the case for him. Maybe the case for some of the other pre-qualified players.
And that's actually something that players are going to have to get used to playing in tournament formats where we're usually playing online, and they die, they can go straight into a match and go ahead and sit there and play another game, keep the gun warm. You're not able to do that here on LAN. So being able to stay consistent when you're not able to keep the weapon warm and keep your shot on point is your ability to just show up and turn on a moment's notice, and that's what's going to win championships.
One of my favorite moments in that last game was just that never-ending engagement. Player after player coming to contest him with Hurrah ultimately does get cut down. Do you think Hurrah will be able to go for a deeper run in game number 2?
Well, I think that Hurrah is definitely a player that can make it into that later game. Maybe he decides that he was taking a few too many fights. Maybe he decides instead to go ahead and take a disengage rather than a chase down and trying to chase everybody down. But it seems like he may have just been going for it. And it looks like we got a There we go. Somebody won a rock, paper, scissors match.
Yeah, we got another winner here today. That's going to be the first winner. But after we're done with these next 2 games, we will be crowning our champion here. Let's talk about 2 or 3 players that we haven't gotten to put the spotlight on yet. Talk about maybe how they will be able to do in this game number 2.
Yeah, let me go ahead and steal that list there from you. So Howie, somebody big player off of Echo Fox, didn't really see a whole lot in that match. Out of Howie, I'd like to see him show up and turn on. Bowman, somebody who went down early but is an absolute slayer, another guy on World's Best. Obviously, Gorani taking down that first one. See if maybe his teammate wants to step up and take the second. I'm sure that Bobby Ham and the family wouldn't mind that.
I want to talk about just a little bit how we are actually seeing these bounties play out. It's interesting, even when players don't go for them, let's say you only got 2 kills like Gorani did, that's still an extra $200 here. So you don't necessarily need to target them to really get the dividends.
No, Gorani wants 25,000. He's not worried about a single bounty. That is not even on his mind at all.
I'm really excited as we get into this second game as well to see more out of P90 Princess. Goes on a really deep run yesterday, gets 2nd overall in her group. We didn't get to see too much out of P90 in this last match, though.
No, P90 going down a little bit earlier here in the first round. Still 2 rounds to make that up, though. We could definitely see her go through and taking out another player yesterday when she was in that final run, taking out another player, Shurima Wizard, who we were talking about, who also went down a little early. So both those players definitely going to want to show up big, maybe play a little less aggressive. We didn't actually see what happened with the P90 fight, but
yeah, we did not. But
I'm not sure if she was the aggressor or not, but we'll see if those players can maybe tone back that aggression a little bit and get a little bit farther. Most of the time when we see these guys go out and take down big kill wins, a lot of the time it's getting to that top 20 and then deciding to turn on. You don't want to really get in the engagements early unless you know that you're 100% isolated and you're ahead. If you're ahead in the fight, take one early, get yourself a little bit extra loot. But we're seeing players that were taking fights in areas that just they didn't need to do it.
I mean, hey, look, Granny only got 2 kills in that match. So you can definitely see how that is going to be a factor. But P90 Princess is in this position where she's one of the last hopes for Allure. We saw Allure earlier in those team battles not have the best performance ever, getting knocked out relatively early. I think it was 11th place.
They had some rough luck,
they did. I mean, it was bombs that took them down the first time.
Those bombs just really took a position where they had a decent foothold and ended up just making it a really hard position to play out of. When you only have the option to step out into the open to dodge the bomb so you can see because you're in trees, where a team is waiting for you to come into the open to shoot at you, or try to push into somebody that's uphill on you, who's raining down grenades, you really don't have a direction to run, and unfortunately, they got eaten up by those bombs, and that made it a really rough spot. So P90, definitely somebody that wants to show up for her team and go ahead and make a statement.
Yeah, and want to see what she can do when we get in this next one. I'm also really going to be paying a lot of attention to Pineapples here. Obviously, a little bit of love coming up on the desk, helping us out earlier in the weekend, but we saw him get cut down pretty early here. What type of player is Pineapples?
Piney is a player that can be a slayer, but tends to be, as the guy that wrote the guide, tends to try to take his fights very meticulously. He wants to take a fight that puts himself at an advantage to start the fight. Rather than just hopping to take a fight in the open, he'll tend to try to bait somebody into him more.
He only wants to take the best fights, and that does make a lot of sense.
Especially on land.
One of the really important things, too, that Piney does have in his guide that's important to a lot of the newer players is he actually talks about what you should be looking for in that looting phase. How similar is that looting phase that you would have at home in a public game to the meta that we see here at this H1Z1 Elite Series?
Very different. So typically a lot of guys will roll 2 helmets, a little bit more ammo because they're gonna be firing a lot more, they're gonna be taking a lot more fights. You don't need as much ammo for this environment. You can actually go ahead and play with a little bit less ammo, carry more makeshift materials, more helmets to protect yourself, especially more helmets, because these guys are all aiming for the head and they can hit it. The majority of the time, they're going to catch headshots. So
yeah, these
you
guys
want to have
can
extra
tap.
helmets. Yeah,
they really can.
I mean, it got them here, so they can definitely do it. But they're going to want to have an extra helmet or 2, sometimes 3 or 4 helmets in their bag. If they've got a car, you'll see a lot of guys just start stacking the car with them too and just use the trunk to be just a pack mule for them.
We saw a lot of that actually coming out of team play. We saw some people grabbing Lammies, throwing them in the trunk, carrying those around. Lammies obviously being very heavy, not something you can really carry in your backpack to throw them back on. So getting to those engagements, maybe their first Lammy gets knocked off, going into the trunk. That's going to going to be a really good position to be in. And just want to reiterate to all of you watching at home, we do also have a fives tournament that is going on. That teams tournament is going to conclude tomorrow. Relatively similar format. I mean, we're going to have 3 games in that grand final. They are going to be playing for $150,000. And remember, this entire weekend, you can actually watch on the watch page.
Yeah, you can actually check it out at h1z1.com/watch. That'll give you updates on all the players and what their total kill count is currently during the match. Plus, you can actually see who eliminated who. You'll get the full list, a little bit more of an experience than you would normally see on the normal cast. You get all the stats down below, which can definitely help out when you're trying to figure out who's where. Where's your favorite player? Is he still in? I can't see him. They're not showing me the map. You can definitely find out if your guy is still in.
I mean, we're on it right up here on the stage, occasionally looking at it when we're not in the fight, and we're looking at one engagement, someone else falls down elsewhere on the map. We hop in there actually to see what did go down.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely a good resource. It's definitely keeping me up to date as well, so I can kind of watch for some big names, or if we maybe miss a fight, we can see what happened.
Yeah, I mean, you're the stats master over there. You got all the numbers crunching. You're paying attention to that.
I guess they thought I was a little bit better with math than you. Maybe I can operate.
I mean, it's not hard to be better at math than me. I'm going to be honest here. It's difficult for me to even count the bounty points. So.
Awesome. Well, it looks like we are just about ready for this second game, and we're going to throw it over to the spectator cam, and we are dropping in with our winner from Game 1, Go Ronnie, who showed up big for World Best Gaming.
Right out of the gates, too, with Flame Hopper, we do see how important that truck can be. It's just plowing through fences. Not going to take any damage on that. He's going to be inside starting to get the loot on. We are going to see a helmet get picked up and dropped.
Drop Kid gonna get taken out first in this match with a head tap from a shotgun.
Huge disappointment coming out here. I mean, this is one of those guys that we were highlighting. Young gun, first tournament, taking first place in his qualifier game. Not going to have a great placement the first time around, I believe in 20th place. And now going to get cut down. First blood. Going to be the first one to be sent out. And this could be absolute disaster for him for the rest of the tournament. Going to need to show up big next time around. Ninja didn't get to see too much out of him, choking the gas that first time. Going to be representing Luminosity Gaming, and he is starting to find some serious loot.
Yeah, ends up going with the second shotgun there and decided that was not what he wanted. I have never seen a double shotgun meta, so I guess except for Mini playing an all shotgun game. Other than that, I haven't seen it happen.
Yeah, I don't think it will be one that pays off. But speaking of the shotgun, we've seen just how much work Hurrah can do with it. Hurrah going to be on your map. He is relatively close to Reigns, and also Measly jumping on board with Reigns. Now, is this looting phase playing out in a relatively similar fashion as to what we saw in that first game?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's almost always going to be the same way here at the beginning. Every now and then you might see a couple off kills right at the start, but the majority of the time you're going to see very, very few people die before that first circle closes, and still only a few people until maybe we get 2 or 3 in.
Yeah, when we actually do get a chance to look at that map, we'll see how clean that spread was, how much space there is between these players. We can see right now, some players are relatively close to each other, which could mean one of those early fluky engagements like we did see with Dropped going down, but also that will allow us to predict where that first ring may be.
Yeah, absolutely. And back on board with Measly, who we talked about yesterday, playing that rooftop. And this first safe zone is going to be a small one. Runamuck Lake eating up a large portion of it. All the way in the southwest corner here, Flame, 10K, Crumb already down there. Probably didn't expect to have the safe zone, but they are going to get it, which is going to give them the option to get some prime real estate and try to make it into the late game. Again, we've talked about these safe zones that kind of go off the map a little bit, and there is a bit of buffer room between the edge of the actual visible map and the death zone that the game puts in to prevent you from going too far. So these guys may be able to just go off map. There's a ton of trees, a lot of cover up there in the mountains, and we see Isco getting fired on here by YT2Tap.
Somebody's playing for bounties right now. We're going to see that Asian player really sticking it to Isco. Isco going to be able to get away from that fight. He is not that bloodthirsty. We want to bring it back to the placement on the map. This ring is going to be incredibly tight here. Yeah. This is just going to be so small. I mean, if I was one of those players in that safe zone, like Crumb, I'd stand up for a second, crack my knuckles, take a deep breath, and know that just in the best position on the map.
Yeah, I mean, we watched Crumb lead Vigor earlier and take them into those off-map scenarios and into those far south sections onto the mountains, and I expect him to do the same here. Jerk gonna step up and open up into Jordy, takes Jordy down to one shot. Jerk with a makeshift on, knows he's hit 3 flesh, he's down to one shot, he's gonna push it, and down goes Noah though. Isco able to return the favor from the shots that Noah went for earlier on him and takes him down.
Yeah, Isco, we talked about him being a slayer in that first game. He was cut down relatively early. Let's see if he can fight his way back up on the board with placement and slaying alike. Jerk Chicken now moving through this backyard. He's got the fence for cover for now. We can see Jordy inside of his smoke. He is one shot, trying to stop that bleeding and trying to stem all of this damage. Jerk Chicken, though, moving around here, not looking for a fight, just looking to loot a little bit more, but he seems to be relatively set up here.
Yeah, I don't think Jordy actually needed to waste any throwables there. He had already broken line of sight. Jerk didn't have a line on him. He could have gotten away and just healed up behind the tree, maybe using it to make sure that he doesn't get pinched out, but we saw people run out of smoke nades late game yesterday. Isco running out of them after going through about 20 of them in the qualifiers, so sometimes using or holding on to those and trying to keep them for the late game is a huge help.
Milky Day going to spot this player here, take a couple of shots at the truck. We've seen just how aggressive Milky Day does like to play the game. P90 Princess is going to be the player we jump onto next. See, she's kind of wide in the open here.
That is not where you want to be running through on foot. PYD YT2 tap is in a fight here with Boxes. Boxes has been hit once, throws out a nade, gets in the car because the throwable comes at him as well, able to dodge it. YT2 tap actually playing really aggressive here, but he does get hit once after Boxy returns the favor and he decides that he no longer wants the fight.
Yeah, taking that shot to flesh is going to be enough to scare anyone this early in Boxes, taking quite a bit of damage. He's hanging out around 40% health. Going to need to take some time to heal on back up. You can see he's already doing just that. He's about 300 meters away in Boxes inside of this car. That's how he's moving so fast. Where exactly is he heading in this Jeep? Does he just want to cut over to ring, or does he have enough time to hit one more POI?
He wants to, most likely he's fairly looted from where he came from. He wants to go ahead and get down into the safe zone and get his position ready, or possibly start setting up outside of the safe zone to push in with the gas, depending on where he thinks the best position is going to be for him.
Benefit of the truck, definitely not going to have the best speed here, but it's going to be able to slam through a bunch of junk.
But not trees.
It definitely can't cut down a tree. No reason not to try, though.
Another player here on foot. So we don't see players on foot ever really until in-game in team play. But a lot of players here without vehicles having to run through open field, which is definitely not a feel-good situation. You're at extreme risk, but we do have a fight here between Jordy. Molotov gonna come out from both players, but Jordy gets the connection onto Triv. Triv coming back, stepping in to take the shot, which is a little bit harder to do while on fire. Your screen gets a little messed up. He's gonna run right through his own Molotov, chasing this fight. Super aggressive. Jordy wants the kill onto Triv. Triv gonna make him pay for it before he goes down, and the two players are going to trade out, but Triv is not gonna go down alone.
Gonna get punished for running through his own molly. You shouldn't be running through fire. Doesn't work in any game.
No, you can. There's a few people out there that have had a run-in or two with their own Molotovs that could probably clue you in a little bit more about them.
Yeah, well, definitely no reason to be doing that when there are only 4 players getting sent home and you're 2 of them in that engagement. So now jumping back onto a few players who are playing it much more passively. Grimmy Bear, though, lurking in the wings. Husker, is he going to find Reptar in a good position here? But Reptar gonna come out on top, even though Husker seemed to have that upper hand for a little bit in that fight.
Yeah, and we're back on board with Aladdin, who played really, really strong, made it very, very late in last game, obviously, and he is still looting a little bit, so he feels a little light on his kit, trying to find a few more things. Definitely a lot there for him. AK, duct tape, and a grenade. A lot of different things there, a lot of utility that he's able to find in that building there.
Chop it down relatively low here. In that police car, though, going to be able to get running from pretty much just about anyone. Grimmy Bear behind this tree, trying to see if he can find Aladdin. Aladdin, though, already scooching off pretty far into the distance. He is going to be pretty safe inside of that vehicle. This safe zone, though, so far away, we are seeing an absolute pilgrimage from our players.
Sweet Dreams actually stocking in boxes right now.
Oh.
Boxy gonna get eliminated by Sweet Dreams. Little bit of feel good, a whole lot of feel bad when you have to take out your teammate in a solo environment. But Sweet Dreams stays alive here and eliminates a big threat to him in the late game.
Making it look very easy though there too. You can't choke up against your teammates. You need to take them down, especially with so much money on the line. But as we can see on that map, it looks like there is going to be a skirmish as these players try to get inside of the safe zone. Now it's going to be Nightwalker inside of an engagement. The question is, will Jerk Chicken push here? It seems like Nightwalker has pretty favorable position. Jerk Chicken going to see that, going to get out. Off screen, Measly going to take down Prox. That is a nice early kill coming up from him. A big pickup. 53 players still remaining. Another fight going on now. This game is playing out much faster than the first one.
Yeah, definitely a lot of engagements here. Measly gets tagged once, throws on a new makeshift immediately, doesn't throw the heal on, knows that he's still within 5-shot range with that Lammy, or with the makeshift on, gonna step out, take a few shots, not worth it. Other player disengages, he'll get his heal off.
I want to see Measly do some big things here, especially after what went down on that roof in the qualifying match for Measly. Measly obviously still doing well enough to get here today, but not being able to clinch up a first place. The FPS was the player who actually got up on a roof a little bit after Measly and ran away with it in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things we were talking about earlier is we were grabbing some of the craftable items, and for the new viewers at home, basically what we're talking about is these players can break down items that they find on the map and pair it up with a duct tape and actually kind of patch themselves together and make an armor that's going to absorb one bullet for them to the body. Doesn't protect the head, but it's going to protect every other part of the body for them, which is big going in. It saves you from a shotgun. It can save you and keep you alive just long enough to get away and heal up and disengage from a fight. So definitely something that these guys are carrying a lot of, and they're going to continue to stack them into their bags so that they have them with them.
We haven't seen too much of what we see in fives in that mid game of that war of attrition, of that taxing gameplay coming in, trying to take away vehicles, helmets, taking away different body armors from these players. Do you think we may see more of those trades coming in a little bit later on as these circles start to close?
Yeah, and again, this safe zone pulling left still, so even staying further off the map and shrinking again. We're gonna see a lot of players in a small space really quickly, a lot of ledges. People are gonna be able to make a lot of flank maneuvers, and we'll see who can make the use of the zone the best to outplay.
One of the reasons, too, that this game has been going so much faster, when we actually do get to this ring, it's almost like we're an additional 2 rings in. We're gonna see Ninja now taking some serious shots.
Yeah, YT2Tap gonna press this. He knows how many flesh hits he's got. He's got Ninja extremely low. Throwable coming out. Ninja already sees it coming on the move. Presses into the open, tries to go for the shotgun kill, but YT2Tap is going to go ahead and take that peek and give him a shotgun of his own.
Beautiful play coming out there. Ninja going to go early in this one as well. Going to have to fight really hard in this third game. Doug is raw inside of the Jeep, going to be getting some fire over onto him. Just some warning shots, making sure that Doug is raw doesn't hop out and start a fight of his own. Doug trying to rotate to a good position here. Now we are back on with YT2Tap King. And this is the guy who was able to get a beautiful kill a little bit earlier on onto Ninja. Now Jerk Chicken going to get one of the cleanest kills we've seen in this entire game.
And Anonymous here just kind of watching Radic go by, doesn't decide to take any shots. Kyreg out there in the water as well. This is an area we talked about yesterday during one of the safe zones that was down here. And these lakes are just, there's no cover. It's basically a dead zone. The only thing you're gonna do is drive through it in a car. Geets landing himself another kill with an assist from Zach. So he's continually adding up money off of these matches here in kills.
Man, this is just one of the most aggressive safe zones that we're going to see with how it actually does play out. Just not going to be much space here for players to set up, get a good position. We are going to see some serious shots going in here onto Sweet Dreams. Saw Sweet Dreams have to take out his teammate a little bit earlier.
Yeah, again, a little bit of feel good, a lot of feel bad there when you have to take out a teammate, but it's got to be done. I think the safe zone actually might play out a little bit slower if it continues to move that way. We're going to end up very far in the hills where there's a ton of ridge lines, and you're going to see a similar safe zone look that we saw to P90's big play at the end of her qualifier yesterday. when she ended up taking down second place and eliminating Shurima Wizard. It's going to play out very similar to that if this safe zone continues to move that direction. We do have Measly now looking into Jerk Chicken, trying to take a couple shots. Gas is going to roll over him, and he realizes that he needs to get going now. This safe zone also made it go a little bit quicker today because it's having to move the gas farther. With the dynamic safe zone, it moves a little bit quicker, and you have to adjust to that. Crumb in a very close position here with P90. Gonna decide to disengage. Crumb, somebody that doesn't take fights unless he has to. Doesn't have to there. Bowman, Rizar, Apex Shay with a long way to go. It looks like Nightwalker's still working his way out. He never got a vehicle. He may not make it to the safe zone because it went so far south.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. Are some of these players on the outskirts even going to be able to get in at all?
Yeah, a lot of these guys are at risk of elimination to the gas. There's about 4 or 5 there that I don't think are gonna make it.
Yeah, we might see some players choking in that kill feed soon. Looking right now on Chop It Down.
Yeah, another
not
player
going to take this fight, and you know what? He has a vehicle, so he really does have the upper hand right now, being one of those players who can move at max speed here.
Yeah, he's definitely somebody that doesn't mind doing hops and taking fights in open field either. He's very comfortable, very confident in his shot, and you'll see him probably take those fights here still. But he got eliminated early in the last match, so he may decide to tone it back a bit.
Now we are looking at the outside of this gas ring. That's still Chop It Down, moving right around that ring. We're going to see a player from Echo Fox try to sink some shots into Kyrig, but going to have to turn his eyes really quickly because Chop It Down is in the wings. Chop It Down trying to get some shots in. He's going to move back behind this ridge. Ooh, that was a really nice shot, but it's not going to be enough. We are going to see Chop It Down fall down.
Yeah, Choppa going to go down here to Radic, one of the big Titans who's been very consistent in within Champions Arena solo plays and at the TwitchCon, obviously taking down one of those matches there. Radic still showing that he is one of the top tier players.
Takes some to the flesh there, but he does come out on top. But we're on board with Pineapples for the first time. Rogue going to be falling down here too, Measly. But we did get a chance to jump on with him for just a little bit, but now we're going to hop back to Measly, seeing him trying to heal himself up, taking as much loot as he can from Rogue, but we are back on with Pineapples. Want to see what he can do. We didn't get to see much out of him in the first game, but we've been hyping him up a whole bunch. He managed to qualify without even playing in the qualifying matches. He's one of those invited players.
Yeah, and something that's big here that we haven't really talked about within the vehicles this weekend so far is the Jeeps. Now, the Jeeps in the current patch don't lose their torque or speed going uphill, so they're a little bit better in these mountainous areas of getting out of situations quickly. So the Jeep may be a more favorable ride to take with you than the usual cop car.
It's been an interesting thing with these changes, just seeing how much different vehicles shine in different situations. Sometimes you actually want to be in the truck now. It used to be a vehicle that really wasn't favorable at all. And now the Jeep going to shine potentially in this matchup. Jerk Chicken trying to keep some eyes on to Measly.
Yeah, I believe we saw Measly and Jerk actually looking at each other earlier, so I think Jerk is aware that there is somebody behind him coming out of the gas, but it looks like Measly is rotating to the right there. And hunting rifle kill out of Calzy. That might be the first one that we've actually seen used to get a kill so far this weekend, and he's going to take out Zach, who ended up taking first in Group B yesterday.
That was one of the first ones that we have seen, and it's going to prove to be an absolutely massive one as well. Now we're on with Calzy. Will he be able to get any additional ones? Trying to look at Blood Inferno all the way 350 away.
Long shot to try and throw a bullet from a hunting rifle at a moving vehicle. I don't think he's going to try and take that one. He does. That's the highlight of the weekend, though.
Oh, man, I would love to see it happen. On board with Flame Hopper now as he does screech on down this hill.
Yeah, Flame Hopper just kind of driving around. And again, this car isn't going to be as favorable as the Jeep. You hit a bump on anything on an ATV, a cop car, or a pickup up in these mountains, and you are upside down in an instant.
Now, Shurima Wizard, what do you think of this position that he has managed to etch out for himself?
I mean, the only position that can shoot him while he's sitting on that side of the ridge is really, really far. There's nobody down below him. He's in a pretty decent spot. We've got some nades coming out here from Milky Day down onto 50 Shades, and that is going to be a Kobe. Took 2 shots, but that second one found home, and he is going to net himself a kill.
We've seen a lot out of Milky Day, especially in the slang department. We were talking about just how filthy his shotgun can be, but it looks like he's got an arm as well. Let's see if he can keep this momentum going throughout this game. Flame still struggling to move around in this police car, and it is palpable just how difficult it is to traverse uphill in it.
Yeah, we were just talking about it, and we hopped on board. Bowman, first one going to choke out to that gas. But we do see the cop car just barreling down in shambles, manages to somehow land it and stay upright and be able to drive away. But it's definitely not the car you want to be driving.
We're starting to see, yeah.
Unfortunately, going to get caught by the gas. We'll most likely see those other players start going down. I know that Isco was pretty far out there at one point. We'll see if he can maybe make it in.
Yeah, we talked about the fact that there were a few of them really far out there in the wings, and the trek may not have even been possible to do. Grimmy Bear looks like he's going to make it. The real question is going to be Isco. Everyone else relatively safe. We are also going to see that new ring. It still continues to skew to the west. And that's going to spell out what it actually does look like when we get to that final ring, but Isco going to choke out here. Everyone else should be able to keep in tow with the gas for the rest of the game, but we did see quite a few players fall for that. Now we're going to see another one. It's going to be Rizar dying to an explosion.
Yeah, definitely. And the gas is... It is doing a ton of damage at this point when you are running for that long. We're at about 2.2 damage per second, and they're at 100% toxicity, which means it's doubling. They're taking 4.4, almost 4.5 damage per second, which is really hard to out-heal. You're going to burn through bandages and med kits at an alarming rate. You do not want to be that far into the gas. This safe zone definitely taking its toll, and the gas is getting top kills this match.
Teaksy Superstar find himself in a pretty difficult position here. Ashton may have the drop on him. We're going to pop up way high up, take a look down right now, and as you can see, this ring is full of verticality.
Yeah, ton of mountains, ton of little fingers off of each mountain. Even if you're really close to each other on these mountains, there's still little divots and pockets that you can hide in, and people won't even know you're there. So this safe zone is going to close in. I expect to see quite a few people make it in, and we're going to see some situations, as we said, like P90, who made a decision to go ahead and make the play with the shotgun, and I think it's going to come out towards this end circle.
Nanamouse did fall down there, and if you're just tuning in, you haven't necessarily heard Supersonic and I talk about it, but when we are in these particular types of terrain, there are these ridges that form next to each other and almost form a little valley. That valley will give you really good cover, so keep an eye for players who manage to position themselves between two ridges to cut off different sides of attack from their opponent. But now it's going to be Howie. This is one of those pre-qualified players getting some very aggressive shots in. Monster going to have to invest right now with one of his smokes. Howie going to throw out a smoke as well. This may be so he can try to advance into this fray, but that additional throwable, as you can see, he tries to get it in there.
Howie, a player that absolutely loves throwables, loves nades. Reddick going to choke out to the gas. Hurrah going to go down, and Grimmy as well. And then Sharima going to clean up onto Ashton. Calsy going to drop to Aladdin. Hansen now going to go down to Reptar as well, and we are losing players extremely quickly. Gas Runner now finds Geets, that player that was going off when kills last round. Geets going to go down earlier than he wants to.
The real flow that we saw there too was someone engaged, someone manages to get to pinch on them, and then someone else, like everyone, just kind of falling in line, getting to attack the aggressor. Staying alive after that train of deaths is no small feat. Crumb now going to take out Teenage. We can see Howie is going to see Granny. Granny was able to pick up that first game. Will he be able to have a performance like that again inside of the smoke, trying to stay away from Howie? Who will get the eye line first? Granny starting to take some damage to the flesh. We're going to see that gas come out. Measley going to fall down to Transpair. Howie going to move back a little bit here. Doesn't want to get over aggressive. Granny still inside of that smoke. We could potentially see a wraparound. Pineapple's dead in the center of our map inside of that safe zone. That may pay off for him later, but back on board with Garanni, taking about 2 shots from the flesh, still in the cover of smoke. Monster, who was able to take up one of those qualifier games a little bit early. Garanni's going to see him, but he's going to see the bullets first, pitched by Howie. Howie going to send Garanni home. That is going to be a disappointing finish after first. Definitely going to be sitting well in placement points, but he comes in 31st place.
Actually gets stolen. He actually did not not get that one. The other player did steal that kill from Howie. He got a 90% assist, loses out on the points and the money, and then we lose CBK Flame to a shotgun there.
Guys might want to split that bounty. That $100 kill, you know, you might want to
I think one of them did more work than the other one. I don't know if they're going to agree on what the split is. Sweet Dream's going to give a 2% assist out to Zeeth, on to Doug is Raw, and we see this fight opening up between Gabe and Adrian. Adrian going to go down there, but Gabe, 95%, gets the kill stolen from him by the FPS, and we are now on board with Tixi, who's down to about 50%, firing uphill, and he is going to get taken out by Split Texify as Shurima takes out YT2 Tap.
Tixi not able to reenact what went down last night, not being able to slay out on the same level, not being able to get as high as a placement, but we are very close to getting our top 20. This player from Epsilon looking to get slightly aggressive, but can curl up the side of this hill. We can also see .FPS really getting that high ground here. Shurima Wizard under assault, going to take a shot to the flesh.
And Zeeth finds Pineapples. Piney going down in 24th place.
Oh, BMR going to eat that shotgun. Shurima Wizard coming out on top, but not out of the gas yet. Going to use that police car to get out in the nick of time. Needs to heal up before he finds another player. Doesn't want to take another fight. Gabesmon inside of this cover, but if .FPS manages to get his crosshairs on, we're going to see that throwable go slightly askew. Not necessarily going to hit Gabesmon.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you got that bank there could have been a huge payoff. Shurima Wizard ultimately going to fall down to Blood Inferno. Now Sweet Dream starting to heat up, going to take down Gas Runner. Reptar going to fall to that player from Epsilon. Oh, and now we are going to see Splint right after getting that kill, getting his helmet knocked off, taking some to the flesh.
Crum extremely low here also. It looks like he might have been fighting Apex Shay. Apex Shay only 12 meters away. Crum not looking that direction. He may not have been engaged by him yet. I don't think he has an idea that Apex Shay's behind him.
FPS gonna lose that body armor there. Another throwable coming out. This time it is going to be the smoke defensively. Pretty standard play coming out here, and as you can see, FPS backing it all the way up into that gas. We have our top 20 at this point. This is when every kill matters the most. You are jumping up significantly in placement money, 25K. Going to whoever gets first place overall. $100,000 on the line in total. Gabesmon getting shut down a little bit early. We saw Aladdin really heat up in the last game, looking to do it here again.
Yeah, Aladdin putting himself in a great position, making top 20 here again, guaranteed. We'll see what he can pull off, and he does have a hunting rifle, tries to throw a quick shot. The FPS up the hill behind him, jumps down and is running. We'll see if these players spot each other, but Illusion gonna go down to a shotgun, and Crum gonna get taken out by Apex Shay, which we were just talking about.
Jumping on with Jerk Chicken now. Trans was getting a bunch of kills up here, definitely moving up in the bounty department, but he finds a relatively bad fight. Now Aladdin inside of the gas. He can see two players here, potentially Kyrig is going to get a kill off screen, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Jerk Chicken able to take down Transparent. Now FPS looks to be in dire straits, and we are going to see that kill go to the way of Aladdin. Had a major advantage. FPS and Monster falling together at about the same time. Transparent still moving forward. Took two to the flash. Now Jerk Chicken standing on nearly his last leg, going to be able to heal up to about 75% health here. We're seeing the armor get peeled off of Aladdin. Jerk Chicken going to go down to Sweet Dreams. Howie behind this tree. And will we see a hop out of that car? Potentially a one pump.
No, Flamehopper going to continue by, does not want that fight. We see the fight going down between P90 and 10K. 10K jumps over P90's head, makes it into the vehicle, drives out, leaves her there to go down to Blood Inferno, but P90 with a much better performance, going down in 11th this round. Definitely has to be happier this game.
I mean, if she can move up that far again, she would find herself in a very good position. Solid placement coming out of P90. Princess Howie still alive here, gonna send home Aladdin.
Top 10 performance again out of Aladdin, though. Definitely looking good to make it into the money here after the third match.
Blood Inferno moving right past Howie, not deciding to take that fight. Now we are gonna see two players in their cars. Blood Inferno just moving along here, right along the gas. He's gonna pop out. He's gonna get some nice shots in, taking down Apex Shay.
Aggressive hop there in a decent area, though. He has the gas at his back. He has a full ring that he can lay down and heal in, has cover from all sides. If you're gonna take the hop to win a fight and play for a position, it was a good one to take. He wins it. High risk, high reward. I typically don't like seeing those, but he didn't have much of an option.
Splint manages to dodge that molly and gets a shot into Flamehopper. Flamehopper gonna utilize tries another molly here. A big investment, but it may pay off. Splint gets behind that tree, though, and look what he can pull off from that cover. We do see the frag come out, and while we are talking, we see Kyreg and 10K both go down. Now it's Howie to Blood Inferno, and we only have 4 players left.
Blood Inferno on the
1%?
last thread of life. You can actually hit a 0.5%. You can read out at 0. I may have gotten it off at that 0 mark, barely gets it off and survives that fight. And we are down to 4, though, back on board with Sweet Dreams, who's listening to this fight from Splint and Blood. He might decide to press this. Looks like he's not going to. Gonna throw some throwables in there, try and get some zone denial off of that, and force Splint to have to make a move here.
Sweet Dreams has a decent line, but it's going to be Splint who opens up the first shots. We are going to see Sweet Dreams potentially engaging as well. Splint could get pinched here by Zeeth. It may be Zeeth and Sweet Dreams closing this one out. We're taking a look at Zeeth right now as he curls around this tree. Will he get the line on Splint? Oh, that's going to be the last Molotov that we see come out. Throwable coming out from Zeeth, but Zeeth taking some serious damage. Splint trying to retaliate, but Splint does fall down. This should be an easy kill, and Zeeth gonna catch on fire.
Sweet Dreams can definitely see the smoke coming off of Zeeth. Easy cleanup, get the headshot to end it. Sweet Dreams taking down Game 2 here at the Elite Series Solo Finals at DreamHack Atlanta.
We only have 1 game left.
And his teammate here, T-Hump, and the general manager from Rogue, probably pretty happy with that one. They seem to be a little calmer, though, than the world's best guys. Need to get a little more hype out of them.
Yeah, I honestly thought we were going to see some of those world best guys run right out of the venue there. They're running all over the place. But the big question is now, what is going to happen in this last game? In just a second here, we're going to get to see the placements coming out of that game and also see the placements overall. That ring changed the entire tide of that game.
That ring was a brutal one to fight through. Awesome ending safe zone. I really like seeing those. They have a lot of feel similar to the first map. Those hills were always a fun fight on the original map. Seeing these guys get to play in those environments is awesome. And Sweet Dreams actually also netting himself 5 kills during that match. So gonna get a little bit of bounty money as well to line his pockets.
Yeah, and just to reiterate that bounty money, every single kill that you get here in the grand final is going to be worth $100. Whoever gets the most kills going to be taking home an additional $3,000 on top of whatever they get from placements and on top of whatever they get from each individual kill.
Yeah, absolutely, and just a ton of money up for grabs, and that's a little bit more incentive to go ahead and take some fights. Sweet Dreams pacing himself very well, though. He did not take fights that he didn't have to. Feels a little bad that you got to take out your teammate, but feels really good when he's not there to take you out in the end and you get the win.
That was the first time we jumped on with Sweet Dreams in that fight, actually taking out a teammate.
Yeah, the first fight that we saw from him was going to be on to inboxes, and I'm sure, as I've said, it probably doesn't feel good, but you got to do it to win the match. It is a one-man game, unfortunately. Teams tomorrow. Not today.
I mean, ultimately, even if your teammate did take you out, I'm sure it still does feel good to see someone wearing the same colors of you taking the first place there. And, you know, if you are going to go down to a teammate...
Go down to the guy that wins. I mean, even if you're not going down to a teammate, at least if the guy that kills you is the one that runs through, it feels a little less bad.
Yeah, I guess it made your death matter, and you do get to see your teammate take home $100 for it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So... couple unusual deaths there. I mean, I guess it's not necessarily unusual, but the gas may have actually killed more people than anybody else in that match, or at least tied for highest kills. So the gas coming in and being
5.
Yeah, taking out, was it 5? I didn't keep the exact count.
It was around 4 or 5.
Yeah,
I mean, and some big names as well.
Yeah, players like Nightwalker that were unfortunate to not have a vehicle, having to run all the way from PV when that safe zone was just so far southwest.
Gas laid pretty hard.
It's really hard to get through that, and I didn't get to talk, well, we did talk about it a little bit. When you hit that 100% level of toxicity, you're taking double damage, which makes it even harder to try and play your way out of the gas. You just burn through resources so quickly trying to get out.
I feel like the next game that we actually do jump into is going to pan out in a much different fashion, just based off the way that ring was very small.
Yeah, I mean, we lost about a quarter of the ring to off map. The initial ring, we lost a ton of it to the lake in that bottom corner there. So these players were playing in a much more compact area than they typically do with a full ring.
Do you think that had anything to do with actually seeing Sweet Dreams come out in the position that we saw that Rogue player come out in?
I think that he was able to, after getting that kill onto Boxy, he was able to find some good spots. He was definitely in the prime position in that last 3, he was the only one in the right position. He had ridges on both sides, as we were talking about, those minor valleys. He's a ridge behind him. He had a ridge in front of him. He also had a ridge, I believe it was on his right side. So he only had really one area if he crouched or laid down that somebody's going to see him from, and he just hung out and waited for the other players to get low, stepped into a player that had 1% health left on fire, threw a bullet, tapped him right in the head just to kind of send it home.
Yeah, that was a pretty ideal situation to close out a game from.
Yeah.
I do have to agree with you there. One of the things that surprised me the most, though, was actually how it went down with Crumb. I mean, Crumb finding himself in such a strong position off of that initial ring, he in a great position on the safe zone, can kind of get himself that ideal piece of land, that ideal piece of real estate, but gets cut down pretty early.
Well, we're in an area of the map, though, that is not traversed very often. These players aren't familiar to the extent that they are with the rest of the map. When you start getting really far down into those corners, that's something that's newer with that dynamic gas change that came in a recent patch. So these corners aren't exactly where they're comfortable. They don't have this mapped out like the back of the hand that they do on the rest of the map, which ends up opening that up for players like Crumb, who may not know the area and he can't play it as tactically as he would like to. He doesn't know exactly where that 100% prime real estate is in that area.
Yeah, it can be a difficult thing to actually sort out, and doing it on the fly going to make it just a little bit more difficult to do, especially when you have that added pressure of a $100,000 prize pool. But we do see that one close out. The next one could just be completely different when we actually do see the place that the gas does fall.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of players showing up there. We saw some consistency. Aladdin, definitely somebody that we want to talk about. Slayed out, did great in game 1. Another top 10 performance in game 2. He is in a prime spot to go ahead and close this one out. I expect him, if we see a total graphics, he is going to be up there.
Yeah, and we should be looking at those graphics very soon here, actually seeing where all of the chips did fall and exactly where everyone has placed.
Yeah, absolutely. Outside of that, I mean, we saw some play. We got to see Howie that game. So Howie stepped up, got himself a few kills. I can't remember exactly where he went out, but it was good to get to see him get in, get a little bit of action. And we're going to see if these players can kind of get in. Ninja goes down a little early there too. Doesn't make it too far into that game. He's got to come in really big in game 3.
Yeah, right now it all comes down to game 3 for Ninja. And that was one of those players we were really excited to get to see. And I expect he will go further in this third match, but you have to keep in mind that the way that the scoring does actually go, all 3 games do matter. It's going to be a combination of points from your placement matches and from all of your kills.
Yeah, and without kills from the first one, he's got to do a ton of kills. He's got to place high, and he's got to slay out in game 3 to be able to get any kind of positioning.
Yeah, really going to have to come alive here. Going to have to go for those bounties very hard, but also go for that placement. I mean, there's pretty much no way to come back without that first place placement.
Yeah, absolutely. Another set of players that we've talked about quite a bit, the PYD crew, have actually played fairly aggressive, and I don't know if it's necessarily paying off for them. We're not really seeing them crack those top 15, top 10 scenarios. They're going down a little earlier, but we're seeing a ton of footage of them because they're playing so aggressive. They're taking as many fights as possible.
Sometimes you got to play for the highlight reel, but being completely honest, if I had to pick one squad as the aggressor, as the aggressive squad here in this solo queue, it really would be them. This Asian team coming out guns blazing every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we might actually have a second guest of this solo finals. Definitely
see that luminosity blue in the wings. He's walking on over now. We are going to have Jurassel joining us on the stage, and we are going to get his opinion on everything that went down in this next match and to forecast what is coming in this third finals game. Welcome to the stage, my friend.
Hello.
Hello,
You
sir.
guys are doing an amazing job.
Well, thank you, sir.
Good job, good
You're
job.
looking quite amazing yourself.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, gotta love that jersey. Now, let's jump right into it. What'd you think about that last ring?
That last win? Sweet Dreams?
Yeah, well, the last ring in general, the safe zone.
Sorry, repeat that.
What did you think of the safe zone that we actually saw in that last game?
It was pretty intense, right? So we're, before this current patch with the current save zones, we were really used to like city endings or field endings. We weren't really going to the edges of the map, so seeing these new end zones are just absolutely, they're very intense.
Yeah, I mean, these players have thousands of hours on this map already, and they still have never traversed this area because the way the safe zone system used to work, you just never ended up there. I don't know if people would even on swinging out there, if it was even worth it to go down there to loot, because typically it's pretty sparse in those areas. So being able to, that safe zone probably made the majority of these players very uncomfortable down there.
Yeah, I agree. We're not very familiar with these parts of the map. Like, especially when you play public games, you don't really go there. Yeah, it's super refreshing, but at the same time, it's confusing and it makes players uncomfortable. I would agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, now let's talk about that win from Sweet Dreams. What did you think about the way that game was closed out?
I mean, he really had a good spot. He was just holding his angles. I mean, the players were like spread out, and he was just picking off super good kills, super good shots. So by getting these kills, it gives him it's an option. It's a player that he doesn't have to worry about anymore. It's an angle that he doesn't have to worry about, and he just played it super good positioning, good picks, and he deserved the win.
So, playing in solos, what do you think about him having to take out Boxy as one of his kills, having to kill a teammate? If you're in that situation, how do you feel after eliminating? Is that one of those things that you get to go back and kind of talk trash afterwards at the hotel? Or is that something that kind of hurts you in your soul a little bit, having to take out a fellow comrade?
Nah, it's your teammate. I wouldn't trash talk to my teammates because I know they're good, so they can definitely kill me anytime. And it's H1Z1, so you never know who's around you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Might need to split that bounty a little bit later on. We had a talking point, though. We've been discussing it a lot, and you're in the position right now, so I want to hear it from you. We obviously have some of the solo players right now in this grand final who qualified via invite. You're going to be in the same position team-wise due to a previous series. Do you feel like that gives you a disadvantage on that initial game, being maybe colder than some of the other players, or do you feel that you have been able to practice and you'll be able to jump right into these tournament conditions?
For someone who doesn't have experience on LAN, if this is their first LAN, they're gonna need to get the feeling of the new setup, and you're not at home. You need to get used to it. My very first LAN, I was pretty nervous, and this is my second LAN. I played in the solos, and you can definitely feel the difference even after one event. So yeah, they're definitely gonna feel cold, or they need to get warmed up on the setup.
Yeah, I think that definitely is going to be one of those factors that we do see play out. Now, getting very excited right now to see the team play go down tomorrow. Of course, we are going to see that final start off very early in the day, another series of 3 games. What is your preparation going to be like for that? At this point, is there any more practice that you guys are going to get to have as a squad?
Well, we watched the team play in the qualifiers, to see how other teams react to certain situations, how to prepare, how they do early game, how they transition to mid game, how they transition to late game. So we learned a lot from the qualifiers, and moving on, we're just going to keep that in mind and keep doing what we've been doing in scrims. And we should be good. We should be doing good.
Yeah, don't want to ask you too many questions about the meta or anything like that. Don't want to spoil the secrets.
We keep that secret.
But when we do wrap that gameplay at the end of tomorrow, definitely want to touch base with you and actually see what your team was thinking coming into this, hear what the preparation was like. But going back to solos, anyone in particular that you expect us to see a lot out of as we get into this third and final game?
I expect my teammate Adrian to do super good in the third game. Adrian has always been a very consistent player in solos, second place invitational. He's always been at the very top. And I would expect Sweet Dreams again to do super good because he's been on fire lately, especially in Champions Arena, the hosted games. He's been phenomenal.
So you talk about your teammate Adrian, and now what is the difference going to be for him playing in solos today and then jumping into teams tomorrow? How big is that gameplay difference going to be for him?
Adrian's experience and Adrian's consistency translates really good to team. He's a really smart player, really passive. If we call something really aggressive and that doesn't make sense, Adrian's gonna be like, it doesn't make sense, guys. We should do this instead. And he's just a really good addition to the squad.
Who's your primary shot caller on the team?
Chipsy. Chipsy is a shot caller. I think it's very important to have that one person to listen to and that second person to have as backup.
So you guys, though, kind of have that setup where even though you have the primary shot caller, every now and then you can have someone else on the team be comfortable enough to step up in comms and say, I don't agree with this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You have that one person making the main call, and you have the second person that's gonna, it's always good to have like a second opinion, because in H1Z1 there's so many things and options you can go with. It can be good to have that second option.
I think the majority of the time, and this is something that's probably different within a battle royale style esport versus a standard one, there's no respawn. So there's not one shot caller that's able, he's dead, he has to keep calling. When these players die, they have to leave the rig. So your in-game leader goes down, you need to have somebody that is confident and comfortable to do that backup calling. And I think that Adrian probably is a good backup to Chipsy. If Chipsy kind of gets out of there, he kind of counterbalances him and kind of pull it back in and get you guys to maybe rethink the situation before you take those fights.
Adrian does that, and we have Ninja also stepping in also. Adrian, Ninja, and Chipsy, I say, would be the main comms for our team, yeah?
Yeah, and it takes a crazy amount of team chemistry to actually be able to pull that off and not have too much chatter in comms, and knowing when to actually doubt that initial call, when to call in, jump in and make that different decision. And we are so excited to actually see that chemistry play out for you guys tomorrow. Can't thank you enough for jumping up onto stage, but it is time for us to actually take a look at the scores coming out of game number 2.
Thanks for coming up.
Thank you, boys.
Thank you, my friend. See you soon, and we will watch you play tomorrow. But now let's take a look at this right now and see what the standings look like for this game number 2 and for these grand finals of the solos of the H1Z1 Elite Series as a whole. I'm very excited to see how this actually did play out, and there it is on your screen. As you can see, from that solo game number 2, the top 20 is going to pan out with Rogue's Sweet Dreams on top with a whopping 180K. That means Sweet Dreams got 5 kills throughout that game to lock in that first place positioning.
Yeah, absolutely. We see Zeeth stepping up into that second place, unfortunately going down on fire and shot in the head. Doesn't feel good, but second place feels great. You see a lot of players stepping up from Echo Fox, Howie, 10K, and Jerk all cracking the top 15 that game.
Really aggressive team as well. So good at slaying. I want to bring up the fact that we have P90 Princess getting that 11th place here. That was a major upgrade, and all of these, like 11th through 15th, those were some big upgrades for those players being in the bubble here. We see Jerk Chicken move up pretty high. We have Monster competing, Da FPS competing as well. But let's see where all of these numbers add up as we mix in the placement and killing points from that first game. And we're going to see Rogue Sweet Dreams at the top of this one as well with a pretty convincing lead.
Yeah, definitely. Gorani playing that first game and taking down game 1, which does net him into second. But Aladdin not that far behind, only 7,000 points. When we start talking about placement, then the big jumps between each placement point, that's not that far off. So Aladdin's still in great contention. But Sweet Dreams with a 40,000 point lead, if he can play consistent and crack that top 15, top 10 scenario in this last game, I expect him to take home the win.
I mean, any of these players, though, who are in this like top 10-ish range, really the top 5 though, if any of them get first place, they should be able to lock this up pretty convincingly. But taking a look at the lower portion of this top 20, we do actually see 2 of the players that I did highlight who moved up a little bit. P90 Princess and Jerk Chicken managed to jump up into that top 20 overall.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we see CBK, Jerk, and Howie, 10K. We have 4 players in the top 20 from Echo Fox who also showed up huge in the qualifier stages today, winning game 1 and 2 of Group A. So this Echo Fox team is playing out of their minds today.
One of the things I really want to see as we do move into this third and final game is going to be some of these guys from SOAR maybe slowing it down a little bit. I think Kyreg and Gabesmon have proved that they can slay with the best of them, and they really do have impressive shots. But if they slow it down a little bit more, I could easily see either of these guys from SOAR getting a top finish here.
Yeah, definitely. SOAR, Kyreg, obviously we saw him play great through qualifiers, still playing fairly warm today. SOAR not quite hitting the marks that they wanted to during teams, but Kyreg definitely feeling himself here, can step up quite big. He's only about 4,000 points off top 10, so a big performance here could still skyrocket him all the way up into the top.
Any names that you don't see here that you're really surprised about not being in this name of our top 20 players, in this list of our top 20 players?
I mean, like the other 40.
Yeah, all 40 of them, really valid here. And that is a big point. All of them had a very long road to get into this final game. We started with a total of 140 players and whittled it down to just this 60.
Yeah, so there's definitely some players Drop Kid, I wanted to see him kind of come in a little bit bigger. He's had a little bit of a rough start here. We'll see if he can maybe close out big in game 3 and bump himself up to at least make some money.
It's still going to be difficult, though, in that particular position. You know, not seeing your name in the top 20, even if you do get that first, you're not going to be able to take that massive head start away from someone like Sweet Dreams.
Yeah, well, I mean, again,
you still want the first. You still want the first.
If we're referring to drop, you might, if you're going to lose and let somebody else beat you, it might as well be your teammate taking home the money.
Yeah, that is definitely a factor that these guys are probably thinking about at this point. Honestly, one of the main things that they're thinking about is just game 3 in general. And as we get in, the main thing that I want to see when the players actually do start to parachute in is where this safe zone is going to fall. I mean, we just heard it from one of the pro players themselves, Drazzle, getting up on stage saying that would have been an incredibly hard safe zone to play. I mean, we knew that on the desk, but when you actually hear that the players not necessarily having as much time to practice in safe zones like that. They don't crop up that often, and when they do, resources are going to be sparse, and the battles are just going to be so tense to close out these grand finals.
The other side of that is that even if it does pop up often, you have to make it to the end game to go and see those areas and really map them out. You have to make it to the late game to get to play that safe zone. So it's even rarer to get to go down there because you're not always gonna make it. You might go out early and never make it to that safe zone and even see that part of the map. So those safe zones are really, really rough on these players.
It's an interesting tidbit that Drazzle let forth as well when he was talking about it. He was saying if you're in a pub or something like that, you don't necessarily gravitate towards those areas as fast. You know, when you're playing against players with maybe a lesser skill level than the players who are here in our top 60 players at this professional level, you can stay in the more populated areas, really be looting for a longer period of time, and come in at the end and pick up a much easier kill just sliding with the 2-tap.
I mean, to them, in a public game, they want to just hang out and they want to slay out as hard as they can. Most of these guys, they don't even care if they get a backpack right off the start. They're actually just looking for an AR and a helmet, and they're going to go and take fights. And they're going to gravitate around areas that are high traffic, where a lot of these guys are trying to avoid those high traffic areas. They're actually trying to cut off. They know where most people are landing and where they're going to need to go, and they're trying to get in the way and prevent those people from making it to the safe zone and get as many kills as possible. So it's a completely different mindset, and you need to be able to change gears when you get here and play this format.
Yeah, when you're in those public environments as a professional player, you're definitely going to be playing for that highlight reel, and once you get here today, you are playing for consistency, and you are playing for $100,000. Going to change a lot of things as they actually do get in here to Fort Destiny.
Yeah, absolutely. So we should be going over fairly soon here to the next match, and we'll have to see how that next safe zone plays out. Do we get one that's the open field again? Do we get one that ends up inside of the mountains that we just saw? Or do we get the trifecta and get to see if all these players like Aladdin and these guys have placed high in both games, if they can play in all 3 environments and get a city ending?
Regardless of what happens here, we will be crowning our champion at the end of this game. This is the last one in the series of the grand final of the H1Z1 Elite Series for the solo queue. We will be back tomorrow with 5s, but it all goes down here for the solo players.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I just want to go ahead and give a shout out to the guys that helped us get this done today and yesterday, and for this whole weekend. Asus, Republic of Gamers coming through, supplying all of our monitors and rigs. Corsair coming through with the mice, keyboards, all of our peripherals. Definitely couldn't have done it without them.
Yeah, and I want to thank all of the pro players too who have been coming up here on the stage, giving us their insight. And now let's see what the pro players who are locking into Fort Destiny can do in this 3rd and final game of the grand final. They're parachuting in right now, jumping on board with P90 Princess to kick it off. And we have seen P90 Princess jump up a lot in the 2nd game and is in our top 20 overall. Will she be able to have an impressive performance here and potentially take the whole thing? This is Sweet Dreams, though. This is the one who closed it out impressively in that last game, and your #1 player overall, primed to take $25K home at the end of this game.
Yeah, I think that he's going to continue to play the exact same way that we saw him play through game 1, game 2, consistent, take fights that he knows he can win, don't force bad situations, don't take hop-out fights. Isco gonna go down early here to Milky Day shotgun, which we know can be absolutely brutal. That is not the way you want to go out.
Doesn't feel good. That was a battle of the Slayers there. We talked about both of them being potentially the guys to take home these bounties. Now it's going to be Teenage. He's taking quite a bit to the flesh, not really getting to kit up much here, and we are going to see the Reigns just sink his teeth into Teenage, send in another player out of contention. And we haven't seen Teenage too much in that top 20 or anything of the like. That may be the farewell to this player for the solos. Now we see Reigns getting inside of this Jeep, moving on along, gonna just knock out this fence, hop right on in, seeing what loot can be picked up here. Sweet Dreams playing it relatively slow inside of that camper, gonna run out now, get into the Jeep of zone, move on over to another point of interest. We have not seen where that first safe zone is going to be yet. That is going to be popping up very soon. Now you heard Drazzle talk about this player. This is Ninja, one of the members from Luminosity Gaming, moving about the map now. Hasn't had the best start.
He needs a big game here to step up. He's got to slay out hard. He's got to take. He needs to take some fights that he normally just wouldn't, or he may just be at this point decided that he's not going to crack into that top 10 or into the money, and maybe he's just going to go ahead and see if he can close out a game and take one down just to show that he is able to play at that level.
You read my mind, though, thinking about how differently we may see a player like that play this game out. We're going to see the ring rotate all the way to the northern portion of the map. That's going to include quite a lot of area. Oh, wow, a kill going to come in from Illusion here. We have seen this team be very aggressive, Illusion being very aggressive in general, that whole region really slaying hard. But one of the things I was going to mention for someone like Ninja, if you maybe feel like you can't get that best placement here, just play for the money. Get some big kills. Each one going to count for $100.
Pull a Tixi.
Pull a Tixi. I mean, pull a Tixi. I mean, I think that's everyone's goal in absolutely every game of H1Z1. That was, saw the follow train come in on him last night. I knew I instantly followed him on Twitter. Not having the same amount of results here today. Now jumping on board with Ashton. What have you thought about the performance from Ashton so far?
Ashton is in a rough spot. He needs, I believe he actually cracked top 20, but he's somewhere near the lower end of that or bubbled just out of it. He's gonna
right on that bubble.
Yeah, he's gonna need to come in, get a couple kills. He's gonna need to make late game. He definitely needs to crack that top 10 to move up and possibly get into the money. And we have Crumb here who has decided to actually switch to the reindeer helmet here, which typically you don't want to do. It kind of gives you away when you're standing behind something and your horns are sticking up.
Showing a little bit of confidence here, definitely a little bit of a flare in style. Nightwalker now going to be inside of this building, crouching down here, taking it nice and easy. And man, you can't trust those Frenchies. They ain't loyal, but as we can see, Chop It Down finds himself in a fight. Going to get connected there, taking a little bit of damage to that flesh.
And we'll see if Noah decides to chase this, and he is gonna play aggressive again. He did this on the fight with Isco and got punished for it. We'll see what happens when he tries to press on Choppa. He has figured out where Choppa's at. Choppa going for the quick peek, gets a touch. Noah now behind in this fight. We'll see if Choppa decides to get aggressive. He knows he has to take the fight, but Noah is gonna catch him over the top with the hip fire right to the head.
I felt that one, Supersonic. We did see Chop It Down catch up in that fight, but Noah is going to be rewarded for his aggression. Tixi going to be the closest player to him right now, about 290 meters off in the distance. May have heard something, but I think that Tixi is going to choose not to engage Aladdin. This player's been playing very well here for pretty much the entirety of this grand final series. Going to rotate into this building. What do you think of this setup that we do see Aladdin running?
Aladdin is fully kitted. He is ready to go. It looks like he's just probably stacking up on a few more, a little bit more ammo. Maybe if he can find some more stuff to shred, like the military backpack for making makeshifts, also making a couple more bandages, just trying to build up his resources so that when he gets to the late game, he has enough to get himself out of bad situations.
Shurima Wizard. This player got cut down early a few times, but has looked good in every matchup. Now Aladdin getting a little bit aggressive, just sinking some shots into this car, but he is going to connect right onto Calzi there, taking about 25% of that health bar right out of that player's grasp.
Yeah, he wanted that vehicle there. He was going ahead to bait it, not able to land that opening shot onto Calzi, mistimed it just barely, and ends up getting that fight.
Here comes the salvo of bombs, and right behind it going to be that air supply. We are going to see the explosions pan out right now, and it is just that Zen moment where all the loot crashes down to the earth, and we will have to see if anyone decides to contest that here, trying to pick up the valuable resources that are inside, or if they are going to be scared of the fight that could go down around that area. Calzi still not all the way healthy here, but in boxes, is on that ATV, very mobile at this point. Not too many people hanging out on the tops of buildings yet, though.
No, a lot of guys are still probably trying to get their full kit. They're trying to make sure that they have everything they need for the end game. They're not ready to set up on the rooftops. Some guys will start to go to rooftops, and as we're talking about rooftops, we have Reptar trying to make it up on top of this fire department, and he is going to get up to play the roof. Now, this one has actually got a lot of good angles. As long as you're not getting pinched from both sides, you can jump up and over the top of the roof and basically get cover from any side just because of the way that the roof is designed.
Yeah, it's almost like those ridges, when you see two of those ridges next to each other and you get inside of the valley, but it's set up in almost a triangle, can rotate around it, get a lot of good cover, and we are going to see a Lammy slide right on to Triv here.
Hunting rifle as well, just a free one for Triv there.
Gifted, absolutely gifted. No one is brave enough to contest Triv, and to that aggressive play, we are going to see the spoils. Now, Reptar still in this very good position here on the roof. 50 Shades going to try to go into this building. Will Reptar be able to find a kill at this moment? Jerk Chicken inside of that gas station. Not too many players around Jerk Chicken at the moment, and he also does have that car to get away if needed, and after getting this loot, will be able to rotate to another POI.
Yeah, absolutely. And that fight there at the fire station, you see the open door, you walk up, you're expecting possibly somebody to be in there, you hear footsteps, you go inside looking, only to find out that the guy is on the roof. So now you have to worry about, can I come out of a door without this guy being posted up above me and one pumping me in the top of the head?
This looks like it could be a fight that one of these guys wants to take, but Rain's gonna jump into the Jeep after taking a little bit of damage here. Gonna drop down to about 75% health and cruise along to live another day. Good shots coming in from BMR OG. Expect to see his name in the kill feed at some point because he has gotten to test his guns. So when he does get in one of those gunfights, he should have the lead down. Milky Day going to fall to Rogue, though. That was one of the Slayers that we saw already come online in this game. Some shots going to be sunk into Reigns. Some beautiful shots as well from Triv. I mean, he sinks it right into Reigns, down all the way to 25%.
Yeah, Rain's gonna have to take another stop to heal, and we see him actually go for the seat swap in the car to heal up. Reptar losing his helmet, but as we see, he has multiple angles here to cover himself from with the roof. It's basically a roof with built-in ridges.
And as we start to see more and more of these kills pop up in the kill feed, just want to remind all of you at home that you can go to h1z1.com/watch to actually watch the game, but also to see exactly where these kills are coming from.
And Triv gonna get that finish onto Reigns. Unfortunately, Reigns was super low. Triv able to just rail off some shots, only needs to connect one and gets the finish. And we now see Reptar here pushing in. I think he is looking for 50 Shades, and we'll see what happens. 50 Shades set up behind the door, so when Reptar comes through here to check, usually people look straight forward. Reptar should check, doesn't see it. First shot gonna come out, second shot gonna come out. 50 Shades, clean shotgun kill, 2 pumps and out.
Not as clean as you would expect it to be, playing that style where you actually put yourself in the bathroom, and look at just how low 50 Shades is going to register here, taking some serious damage from the spread of Reptar. Do you think Reptar was a little too aggressive there, was really set up on those roofs, decides to dive down into the building because he heard the player actually go in, challenges the bathroom very early on in the game? I mean, we still have 52 players up. We had 53 before that engagement.
Yeah, he wasn't under any direct threat from anybody outside. He had a rooftop where he could still drop down. He had that whole other side of the building that he could have taken for cover, but he chooses to go in and take a fight in a close range environment where you were literally just rolling the dice. Those fights are all about flicks and using the shotgun well, and you put yourself at risk really quickly, especially there when the player's set up in an area and you're looking for him and he knows the only spot you can come from. He's usually going to get the first shot. You're starting the fight off blind and behind a shot.
What is there to gain from jumping down and taking an engagement like that? Because I know the alternate...
$100?
That is true. The alternate route, though, with patience, a little bit of discipline, if you sit on that roof and you actually wait for another player to come out after someone else does contest 50 Shades.
He had the option to go ahead and just disengage completely too and leave the area. There was nobody in the immediate vicinity there to the west. He could have dropped off the roof, stepped into those ridges. There's a really nice ridge lines with those little dips and valleys to the west of PV there, and then he could have cleared his way up the hill and been completely out of that area.
Reptar's been aggressive throughout the entirety of the solo queue series here at DreamHack. And you know what? Really do like seeing players play to their play style. So Reptar is going to be ripped, but we are on board with Zach, and we have seen this player perform quite well throughout the entirety of the series.
Yeah, absolutely. We also see a lot of players from that. When we were seeing that safe zone, we saw a lot of players like 10K, Inboxes. There's some big names within the community down there on that southwest corner of the gas, and we'll have to see how they rotate out to maybe either separate or eliminate each other.
I mean, we got some of the 60 best in the world competing in this final game here, and it really does all come down to this Supersonic on board with Aladdin, and we already saw he is primed for a huge chunk of this $100,000. Been able to slay out, getting a couple extra 100 inside of his pocket as well. Now, we are seeing Trip already getting into this kill feed before, trying to sink some shots into Zach, but it's going to be Teaksy, the Dream Maker, taking down a player from PYD, and PYD just being so aggressive. I wouldn't be surprised if PYD was the one who started that engagement in the first place, but ultimately it's going to be Teaksy who does close it out regardless of who started it. That's going to be an extra $100 for him and 1,000 placement points. And in that top right portion of your screen, if you take a gander over there, you can see a lot of these players are starting to get slightly clumped up, moving a little bit further away from each other where they do have the chance. Now on board with Radic.
Yeah, Radic, another one of the players on the Echo Fox squad, which as a whole, they're showing up big today. Mountain FPS, though, gonna get eliminated by Zach as we jump back on board with him. And we go back to talk to about Aladdin here pretty quickly. He's playing very, very consistently. He is absolutely set up as long as he can maintain composure. I'd still say that he's a big favorite to just go ahead and take the whole thing.
Oh yeah, you got to put him in the top 10 favorites there, that is for sure. But for everyone who may just be tuning in for this grand final, you want to actually break down what this siren can mean as Flame actually pops that explosive there.
Yeah, so every time that these gas circles go ahead and close in, that siren is indicating to all the players and letting them know that the gas is released and it is going to start moving, which means if you're on the edge, you want to start running a couple seconds ahead of that to get going. Also, don't forget, everybody at home, if you are watching, you'd like to keep track of your favorite players, if they're alive, how many kills they have, everything, you can go ahead and check out the full viewing experience over at h1z1.com/watch, and you can get all the statistics for all the games that have been played and get live stat updates while watching right on the site.
Could we see a fight here right now? Rogue creeping around. Pineapples gets dropped by Dropped. That's going to be really big. Drop didn't necessarily come online as big as we expected to see him in these previous two games. But looking alive here, Pineapples, though, with a disappointing performance.
Yeah, Piney gonna go down much earlier than he wanted to, but he will be back again tomorrow, already invited in, and he'll be there with his team Denial in the Fives finals.
Not done watching them yet, that is for sure. Be sure to tune in tomorrow to see the way that the Fives do play out. But we gotta put all of our eyes on this solo queue right now as we see this air supply plummet to the ground. And it is very close to Nightwalker here. Will Nightwalker attempt to contest? I mean, there's no one else to really put the pressure on him, but we do see just kind of rotating away. P90 Princess is going to be the person we jump on board with now, but we're hearing those shots flare out from Kyrie, and he's trying to get them into Hurrah. We saw Hurrah really slay out in the first game of this grand final series. But Hurrah right now going to move into that vehicle, try to get out. Kyrie getting that throwable in, and you can hear that explosion, but you don't see too much damage popping up anywhere.
Nah, Hurrah gonna be able to easily dodge that one.
Not gonna
Kyrie
register.
had already pulled back, and you could see him kind of whip to the right at the end there. He had already cocked to throw the grenade, but the car started moving, so he tried to lead it a little bit, but the vehicle was gonna outrun that throw.
Yeah, definitely not gonna get tagged there, but we are going to see 10K trying to tag Ninja. Ninja off very far in the distance, about 150 away. Having a difficult time, though, actually getting those shots. And you can see Ninja just curling all about here. Some really cheeky footwork from this player of LG.
Yeah, the ENAS, and 10K now going to use the back seat and hang out for a second. Swap needed to reload his weapon, didn't want to get out and put himself at risk. Swaps the back seat, goes ahead and gets that reload off. And he's going to go ahead and take off here, and we're back with Ninja, who looks like he is still on the run. We'll see if Bowman tries to give him any trouble. He's pretty far off. I think Ninja has finally gotten himself to safety, unless one of these players decides to get really aggressive on him.
I mean, Anonymous could really come in here right now and try to contest, but just in time, Ninja does find some trees, finally gets some cover. He's running through that field for quite some time, leaving himself wide open. He really didn't have a choice because he had to disengage from that fight. And now Ninja actually does have optimal cover here, and Anonymous could have gotten punished if we saw this player try to get too aggressive. So Ninja really doing a good job of staving that aggression with some nice shots. Now going to turn into 10K, sorry, but is not able to connect there at all. We didn't talk about this ring yet, though, Supersonic. How do you think this one will play out?
I am not sure until we see this next one pull, and we'll see where it ends up going. It is actually going to go ahead and center on itself. So we have a little bit of Harris Ridge. So we're in there still. There's going to be some prime real estate there for a little bit. Hold on. We have a fight between Zach and Rogue. Rogue actually behind at the start of that, but he is able to turn it around and clean up Zach. Takes him down. He's going to be able to get a heal off. But that safe zone there is going to be a lot of open field. So it's going to be similar to game 1 of the finals today here in the solos.
And now we are jumping on with Apex Shay. Just putting some suppressive fire out into Measley. Nothing too aggressive here, just trying to keep that in the mind of that player, trying to put the fear into him.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rogue, I believe, is actually leading now, that being the second kill. That's the first person to land 2 kills in this match. So he is currently making the most money, other than placement points and bumping up, but actual match, he's currently in the lead.
Yeah, and all of those kills are going to stack up in total from these first 3 games, and whoever wins overall going to be taking home an additional $3,000 alongside anything that they do get from placement.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see who ends up getting that highest kill total. We've seen some players drop 5, 6 kill games, 3 or 4 in the next, too.
Gets down Zeeth. Zeeth had progressed so far in this last one. Now we're on board with Dreamer Wizard. Going to have to put down the smoke here to try to heal himself up. He gets into perfect cover just in the nick of time.
Yeah, and another free med kit to replace the one that he's about to use to get the bleed off, sitting there on the dresser, and he is gonna grab it.
Yeah, and that is going to give him just enough resources to heal up. And that's going to also put him in a decent position approaching the mid game, which is right around the corner. The Siren's going to be indicative of that.
That gas, yeah, taking off and releasing again. So these players now know that the circle is closing, and we are gonna let the tension go ahead and build more as this safe zone shrinks again and has 46 players remain. So this is something that we can actually talk about here. An 175 player online public match, at the first gas circle, there's about 35 players left. We're a few in, and we're at 46.
Rizar moves into kind of a dangerous position here. Thinks that he has a pretty good line on a player. Tries to get aggressive, but there is a player inside of this building. It's going to be BMR. Oh, wow. Ninja finally going to get up onto this board here. It's going to be Calzy who he takes down, but now we are in the middle of that shotgun fight. Rizar is down, but he comes out on top, taking down Boomin, but he does not have enough time here. He still has the shotgun out. The dream is broken, though. BMR OG, who had an eye on Rizar just a little bit earlier because he was in the building, he got those initial shots into Rizar. He is able to clean up shop there. Now on board with Nightwalker with only 43 players remaining, and the gas quickly encroaching.
Yeah, gas coming in. That was definitely a good cleanup. BMR playing that very well, deciding to wait, and then unfortunately, the other player getting pinched out there and forced into 2 really bad back-to-back fights.
Can Tixi get the Cinderella story going yet again? Comes in first place yesterday. Today doesn't have the same impressive finish, but now all eyes need to be on Illusion because he may be getting sent home right now. There's the finish. We see Gas Runner send that player home and grab all of that sweet loot. Only 42 players left in this 3rd and final game of the solo queue series.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of Korea versus Asia there. Korea tacking up another win for themselves.
50 Shades not in the best spot here. We're going to see Anonymous just absolutely douse that smoke with these frags. No connection, though. 50 Shades back up to about 75% health here. Anonymous circling the water like a shark, though. 50 Shades outside of that smoke, but Anonymous going to decide to jump back into the police car instead of trying to get shots in. He can set himself up in a good position here to try to use those wheels as cover, but he is just going to go full ham. Another throwable going to come out. No connection, though, onto 50 Shades. It goes askew to the left. 50 Shades then finds himself up in that fight, and we see Anonymous retreat now within boxes. That fight is going to go on in another portion of the screen, but it's going to be Anonymous who loses that body armor, jumps back inside of that car. 50 Shades hot in pursuit, but Anonymous inside that Rari can start to get that bad boy revved up and scooch on out of there.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he really wants to disengage, though. It does look like he just wants to take the fight. I don't know if he's decided that he's not making it into that top placement, so he's just trying to look to get those kills. This is the game where if you're gonna hunt bounty kills and you're in a bad position to make the money rounds, this is where you start causing some chaos. But his car is extremely low as he drives through open field, and it needs to get out of there quickly.
That is degrading fast. Going to need to find a good place to hang out. Now we're on board with inboxes. Y2K Tap King has been sent back. Inboxes now up against this ridge in between the gas, and you can see how much damage that is already starting to do to inboxes.
Yeah, he's just going to go ahead and roll a med kit, though. So he comes
going
out of the gas with already rolling Anonymous in a bad situation. Still down to about one shot, with shots coming into the back from Kyreg. Kyreg with a long throw, gets the Kobe, and Jordy drops to Adrian.
Didn't even need to be that flashy there out of Kyreg, but he just flexes, shows how much skill he really does have, closing out, just snuffing Anonymous. Anonymous did find a very bad position to be in, right? That aggression gets punished. Car just absolutely degrades, not in a great spot, doesn't have enough time to run out on foot, has to get in that bad fight, and now it is dropped. The young gun, he's back, sending home Monster.
Yeah, it looks like the player inside there is aware that somebody's in the gas. Keep looking that way. Kyreg gonna lose his helmet, trying to throw some pre-fire to keep Prox off of him for a second. Gonna get his new helmet on. Prox hit once or tagged once there. Kyreg getting aggressive, coming out with the Molotov, taking the only cover that Prox had there. Throws down a smoke though, and Prox is gonna be able to disengage. Might see some more throwables come out from Kyreg, thinking that he's on that tree. Prox now out in the open though, but he's gonna go ahead and clean up. Ninja takes him down, and Gas Runner's gonna drop to Measly.
Did you see that pop there? Ninja was up in that gas, was about to come in. He's already taking quite a lot of damage to that health bar. The pop comes in, he's cleaned up nice and easy. Prox showing that he can bang with the best of them, starting to slay out. Now gonna get that throwable down. Kyreg and him in that battle. But we're gonna jump on board with Huskers. He has this fence here. Back on with Prox and Kyreg.
Yeah, Prox here back in this fight again with Kyreg. He did disengage, made a great play to get the smoke nade down, then back off to make sure he doesn't get taken out by any throwables. He is in the open, having to play a small hill. Doesn't quite work as well as a ridge line against Kyreg, who has some tree cover. But he is further in, and we do hear the sirens going off, so this gas may start forcing Kyreg towards him, which puts some pressure on him and allows Prox to have the advantage, but Prox is trying to find a better position so he doesn't get pinched out.
Dropped has just gotten an additional 2 kills in that kill feed. Now we're gonna see inboxes.
A repeat here. And Sweet Dreams is gonna eliminate Boxy for the second game in a row.
Oh, the crowd's starting to get crazy there.
Or does it feel bad at this point? You've done it twice, man.
That was an absolutely filthy kill. I mean, that one's going to get clipped out, and you're just going to relive that team death over and over and over again. Frag going to be sending Flame home. See a nice pop. Trans going to be able to get back inside of this Jeep. Apex Shay sent home by Prox. Prox has been another one of these sharks just slaying out here, going to be taking quite a lot of money home. And we see Trans go straight through that smoke. A few players getting some eyes on him. And now Dropped is going to be sent home from Rogue. He already had 3 kills. It's going to be $300, but the placement not going to be that impressive. Doug going to be able to trade out onto Rogue. Grimmy Bear going to be sent home by FPS.
Yeah, another teammate on teammate kill there. Doug in a really tough situation here. Down to about 25, gets his new helmet on. Needs to get a heal off. We'll see if Garani decides to play aggressively or not. Hops into the vehicle, doesn't drive off, decides he wants to stay for the fight. Sweet Dreams finds himself another kill with that shotgun.
P90 Princess makes it into that top 20. Doesn't get to enjoy it long. Ooh. Jerk Chicken, Doug is raw. Both going to be sent out. We're down to 17 here. Radak getting a really nice kill. Garani, this was your winner last time. He's going to get his body armor popped off. Still in this fight with Measly. It looks like he's up. No damage to his flesh. Trying to send Measly out of this one, but Measly is just dodging, weaving in and out of cover, and Measly gets closed out. This time it's going to be by Radak. He gets in, he gets this pinch. Guarani now finds himself in a bad position. He had already taken damage in that previous engagement, and Radak with the arm going to bank that one in right up to the tree.
With him going down, that's also setting up Aladdin, who's still in this game, for prime time to take down that top spot. Sweet Dreams also still in this match. Both these players in top contention for first place overall. Aladdin here, as we see, is playing out of the smoke in the middle. Not a whole lot of cover in a rough spot. You can see his vehicle is smoking in the middle there. He can't go that far in it. This is a rough spot for Aladdin. If he gets eliminated, he's basically setting up Sweet Dreams to take it all down.
That is so true. We can see the crowd starting to get riled up here in Atlanta. They're starting to get loud, and we can see Sweet Dreams taking that good fight. Kyrig may go down to Radek here. Radek up so far. Kyrig diving into that smoke, but will it be enough? A throwable is going to come out. That frag could be enough to send him home, but it's going to be Radek's rifle that sends home Kyrig. Now Radek going to jump inside of that Jeep. There's another fight that he could take. This time it's going to be Nightwalker, but Radek knows he does not need to take another fight right now. Going to retreat. Aladdin, this is one of the players that can take the whole thing. We can see the smoke coming out and just kill after kill in the kill feed. Radek, Gabusman, and Blood Inferno all getting sent home. Now Aladdin is in a bad car and in a bad fight, but he's going to be able to send home a Dread from LG, and inside the gas, Tixi is back with the Cinderella story. He is going to send Aladdin home, and that could really set the landscape for first place here, because as you can see, Sweet Dreams is still in it, but gets knocked out by Howie, and then Trans gets knocked out by a player from Epsilon. Splint is looking good. Prox in prime position here, trying to take a fight. Only 7 players are going to remain supersonic.
Crumb now finishing off a long-range fight, takes out Splint out of the car. Prox gonna clean up onto Nightwalker, goes extremely low here, needs to get his health up, has a ton of smoke nades down around him. Crumb in a good position here. Car in very great position, has a ton of health. Full health, full vehicle here. We are down to 5 players remaining. We have 10K. We have Howie both off of Echo Fox. Showing up big here. Tixi, a player that went off big yesterday in the final game of his heat. Can he do it again in the final game of the final?
He's gonna get popped, but he gets some serious damage into Howie, and he manages to dodge his throwable, and Prox from TK gonna sweep in, get that kill. Crumb now trying to get some shots into TK. He's dipped him all the way to 25% health. Prox in the wing could dive in here and manage to pick up this additional kill. Only 4 players are left. Crumb wants to contest here. Gonna move back to the gas, try to get this line. Now Crumb getting some shots in. Prox is in the wings though. Now Crumb behind the wheel of this car. He can see 10K. Gas is going to skew the vision. 10K trying to get some shots in, but it's Tixi. He is back, and he's going to send 10K top 3.
We are down to 3. Tixi here playing very well. Crumb already hit, gonna use the car as his safe zone. Tixi though gonna get taken out by the Kobe from Prox. We're gonna see Prox versus Crumb here. Crumb having to use his vehicle, has more cover than Prox. Prox is in the open, but the vehicle is low. We'll see if Prox decides to switch to try and hit the car. He is gonna set it on fire. All he has to do is reload, finish the car off, and he's gonna take it home. Crumb gets out of the way just in time. Gas is moving very slowly at his back. Prox trying to open up. Both players so low here. Crumb gonna go down, and Prox finishes. Game 3 goes to Prox. Team Caliber taking down game 3.
Absolutely beautiful. Tixi almost bringing it back there, but now we are going to have to see who the winner is. All of the points are settled. We are going to be crowning our champion of DreamHack, of the H1Z1 Elite Series Solo Queue. What a beautiful way to end out this day.
Yeah, crazy ending. Great finish to the solo finals here. Glad to see Tixi make it in there, but I think that Sweet Dreams has most likely taken this one home for Rogue.
We are going to have to wait for those numbers to get in. We are going to have to see what the entire score is. Let's just recap all of the action that went down in game 3. What a beautiful series overall, and the perfect final game.
Yeah, absolutely. That final game with just a ton of action. You could see all the people in the audience going nuts. A lot of them taking off when they realized over half the Rogue guys, as soon as they saw Sweet Dreams crack top 10, take off just dead sprinting for the pit to probably give him some high fives and some love at the end of this.
I thought that they were going to be taking a victory lap there. We saw all of them kind of run off, and it is very exciting.
Gone.
Yeah, they ran right over to that player section. That is exactly where they went, and rightfully so. And I think we're going to have the players up here on the stage very soon, because we got some trophies to hand out and a whole lot of money. One of the things I'm most interested to see, obviously we want to crown these champions, but who do you think laid out the hardest? Who do you think is going to be taking home the $3,000 for the bounty prize?
Sweet Dreams got quite a few kills across all games. He's definitely in contention to possibly take that home as well.
That would be
and possibly
30K
have the
plus.
double.
that would be 30K plus for this player just in the solos. And then tomorrow we get to jump back and we will see the teams actually play it out with an additional $150,000 on the line.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we're definitely going to see Gorani up there, at least in the money. There's a lot of players that played very, very well, but I don't think that anybody's able to take that one home. He started this match with a 40,000 point bonus, cracked top 10. We saw the people that were up against him go down sooner. We saw Aladdin get knocked out. We saw Gorani get knocked out. And I think that just means that he takes it down.
Absolutely beautiful. And we will see that actual scoreboard soon as they calculate everything. We, of course, are going to get to see who led in that third game and who led the entire finals series. We want to reiterate how long this path was to actually get there. I mean, we started with 140 players. We broke up 120 of them amongst two groups, Group A and Group B. They had to play 2 qualifier matches, and the top 20 teams the top 20 players based off of their points progressed to this grand final series of 3 games. 20 other players were invited. They rounded out the group of 60, and we got to see them all break it down and fight for the money.
Yeah, absolutely, and a lot of players netting some kills there. Prox actually finishing that game out, taking home the win on game 3, also netting 6 kills, lining his pockets a little bit with some money in there. And we saw quite a few players get some kills again. Howie taking down 4 players, Sweet Dreams taking down 3, and he had some decent kills in the first game. He had most kills, I believe, in the second game.
What a crazy tournament, and for it to all go down in this absolutely electric DreamHack environment is just such a cool thing to see. I'm so happy to be here at this H1Z1 Elite Series tournament.
Yeah, Radic also going off. They're actually eliminating 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. He did 4 in a row there in the top 20. Radic definitely showing up there. Unfortunately, not able to clutch that game out, but definitely showed up big and made a statement there in the top 20.
I mean, I was so excited to see what Teaksy could possibly do there. We were gunning after that performance yesterday. You got to go back and watch that VOD. Teaksy went off yesterday in those qualifying matches, taking first place in one of them. But now today, it looks like we won't see Teaksy taking the highest place, but hope to see him in that top 20.
Yeah, definitely hope to see him in the top 20 and hope to see him again in the future. It was a blast watching him play. But, I mean, the story is still these top 3 guys. I want to see this shake out. I think that second place is going to be a toss-up, but I do believe that Aladdin probably beat out Gorani as well and took down second, and Gorani still made it fairly far into that game and possibly netted himself third, which is still going to be a very decent payout.
Second and third should be close here. I think we're all expecting to see Sweet Dreams come in with that first place finish. I know that the teammates of Sweet Dreams definitely did think that. We saw them run off to congratulate their teammate, but we will find out in just a second. Let's just actually recap everything that went down first, and let's talk about Aladdin.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Aladdin there. So Aladdin taking 10th, playing absolutely, I mean, aside from Sweet Dreams, absolutely the most consistent player. He was there. He played his way out of some bad situations. He was in the smoke. Carlo still fighting.
Aladdin may have finished pretty high up. I think
he's top 3.
He's definitely top. I think he's definitely going to be at least top 3.
I think I'm thinking that he cracked. I think he cracked second. I'm thinking I'm calling it now. I think Aladdin takes down second place.
I mean, all of these predictions will be answered very
both bad
soon.
At math, but I mean, I'm going to say by terrible
visible.
calculations saying that he's probably taking second.
All right, we'll have to see. I mean, we have a pretty clear idea who could be in the top 3, and we're starting to see the players line up on the stage here. We're going to be finding out pretty much any second.
Speaking of Aladdin, we have Aladdin here on the stage. Come on over. We hid the chair from you. We'll bring it in, let you sit down. How you doing, man?
How you doing, guys? How you doing?
Oh, welcome, Aladdin. You played like an absolute boss, and I think this means we're going to be handing you a trophy here in just a second. Oh, that means we are not handing you a trophy. I jumped the guns. I wanted to touch that shiny thing very quickly. But let's talk about that actual final game and how it all went down. What was it like to be playing for so much money on the line?
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah, absolutely nerve-wracking.
My heart's going fast.
I can imagine, man.
Yeah.
You were in those top 15, top 10 scenarios almost every game. Which one of those circles do you think was the absolute most heart-wrenching on you? What was the hardest one of those 3 games?
Probably the second game that I played. It was when it was up in the mountains. I had no idea what was going to go on. I had no idea about the terrain around it. because you don't commonly play there. Just recently, they changed the safe zones.
Yeah.
We
So now
heard
it's like
that out of
something new.
Drazzle as well. He was really talking about how difficult it is to play in those rings, that because you didn't see those rings before the changes that actually did come in. So that safe zone definitely giving a lot of players trouble in that second game. But is there a particular moment of the series that overall that sticks out to you, like the biggest moment coming out from these grand finals?
Just fives and everything, and
I'm down to hear everything. Of course, Aladdin getting to play in quite a lot of these games, getting to watch them all at DreamHack.
Definitely, it was when I two-tapped Calzy.
When you actually did get that two-tap in, that was definitely a big moment and really exciting to see.
Yeah.
But what's it like to be playing at DreamHack? Is this environment a lot different for you than the current environments that you do get to play at?
Yeah, this is my second tournament.
Yeah.
I got to play Fight for the Crown, and now I'm playing DreamHack. It's
How
surreal.
different was this than Fight for the Crown for you? Obviously, it's very, very different when you're actually at this giant tournament. It's not just H1Z1 here as well.
It's insane. It's awesome.
Did you ever think that this would be the path that you would be going down when you first started playing H1Z1?
Not at all.
Yeah, definitely one
not.
of those things. It's been such a crazy ride actually seeing the scene develop.
Yeah, watching the scene develop has been absolutely insane. And Aladdin, I mean, in terms of the grand schemes, newer player, but you've shown up and played very strong through Fight for the Crown and showing up big here today in solos. So you've played very consistently, and I think that you have, if your name wasn't a staple already, you've definitely shown up and made it so today. So
Thank you.
Congratulations on a great performance there.
And yeah, we talk about these breakout players that we can potentially see. Obviously, you have been around for a while. Were there any players in particular that really broke out to you in this tournament that you're going to be keeping your eye on, that you may be even a little bit scared to play against in the future?
Sweet dreams.
Sweet Dreams is really
sure.
going to be that one for you. And we saw
Yeah.
Sweet Dreams just absolutely light up that leaderboard in the first and second game and not playing bad at all in the third.
Yeah, definitely played strong. Aladdin also stepping up. We saw quite a few people playing very consistently through these matches. So the second game you're saying is the hardest, which we had basically doubled up from Drassel telling us as we talked about those safe zones. I love you! Woo! All right. You got a couple fanboys in the audience here.
Oh, man.
Let's go!
Sorry.
Yeah, so what
Go ahead. It is your time now, especially after the way that you did perform. We're really excited to see these scores play out, but we are happy to have a little bit of time to chop it up with you now.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so what was your strategy going in as an overall? Did it alter, does the safe zone alter your strategy that much? Were you trying to slay out? Were you trying to play more of a very paced game? Did you have an overall tempo that you wanted to carry through all the matches?
I definitely have a very slow tempo. I play openings. So like in that situation, I knew that I had to push down in the last game to a certain point and just try to hold off and try to get as much possible until everybody else around me was white.
So for those newer players at home, how exactly does that play style pan out if that's something they want to try to pursue? How do you play the openings efficiently?
It's luck. It is to some degree, it's luck, but it's just really just watching other players pinch each other and then just waiting for that moment to just strike.
So it's really that observational skill and that awareness too of what's going on the map, knowing that where the players are going to line off, trying to cut them off, and trying to really be an opportunist on the fights that do break out on the map.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that is a skill that takes quite a lot of time to develop. Obviously, the chips do need to fall in the right place. You need to be reacting to what other players do. Obviously, you don't have control over that, but it is impressive to see a master at work, jumping in there at the right moment to be taking those kills.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to double up on that. That's something that I think gets overlooked a lot in terms of skill sets, is being able to recognize and read the map in all the situations and knowing when to take a fight and knowing when to go ahead and back down and use your terrain to get out of there. We saw you outplay a couple situations using smokes, maybe throwing a couple down so they don't exactly know which one to go ahead and throw gas nades into to take away from you.
Exactly.
Gives you more options, and that's something that we talked about earlier in the cast. Giving yourself more options is typically always the way to go about it. It gives you multiple ways to get out, gives you multiple ways to take out players, and you consistently showed up and made use of that exact skill set in this game, and I think that definitely fits your tempo and pacing.
Yeah, and I think another big thing is after reading all that, you also need to be able to read people, which is a very difficult skill to have. And we have enough time for one more question with you. How heavy did bounties actually play on your mind when you jumped in, or was the only thing that you were thinking about was the placement?
No.
You just didn't even think about the bounties, weren't thinking about the
Yep.
money, just looking for that high placement.
Yeah.
I definitely think you're going to be taking a pretty high one. We're going to see that score in just a
Hopefully.
second. Best of luck to you now that it is said and done.
Thank you, man.
Really impressive to get to watch you play.
Thank you.
Congratulations, man.
That was Aladdin. Let's hear it for him. Everyone in Atlanta and everyone at home, be sure to show him your love as well. We're going to be finding out the results in just a second here, but we have Prox up on the stage. And everyone is starting to go crazy for him as well. Welcome, Prox. Really excited to get to meet you up here, and congratulations on some really impressive play throughout the entire tournament, and particularly in Game 3.
Thank you, thank you.
So let's start to talk about Game 3. Anything in particular that you want to bring up about how Prox played?
I mean, he definitely played through those open field scenarios. That step out against Ninja getting that kill. You played it very well with the smoke nade, throwing the smoke nade in and then not making use of it. We just talked about that with Aladdin, is basically placing your smoke nade and disengaging from it to not put yourself there. Most people are obviously gonna see, I'm in the smoke, they're gonna pre-nade you, and you play that out and did a clean shot right onto the Ninja and turned it around, was able to play through open field, which is typically very hard. So what was your strategy kind of when you recognized that point? Right after taking out Ninja, you had to basically cross open field,
Yeah.
lost your car, had to go on foot. What were you thinking at that moment?
I had no more nades, and I knew there was going to be at least one rock safe in the safe zone, so I just tried to go for that rock and was hoping the player behind me that was against the gas would die by someone else, and I think he did.
Yeah, you ended up rotating. I believe you either threw down a second smoke nade or he did as you rotated off, and he ended up rotating out the other side and getting taken out. So that was a good read of the map, good read of the other players, and ended up playing out into your favor.
Yeah, when we hear about that actual awareness that it takes for a player like Prox, you really start to see the skill ceiling that these players do start to achieve. But when we look forward tomorrow, you are going to be playing in that team play series. Are you thinking about that yet? Is that starting to sit heavy on your mind yet?
Yeah, kind of. I just want to go to sleep. It's so late.
Yeah, it is very late here in Atlanta. We're almost hitting 2 o'clock in the morning. But Prox, even at this late hour, you showed up and played like an absolute boss. And tomorrow, you and TK will have to do it again. What is it like to be here representing TK?
It's amazing. I'm only 17, and I didn't know I could do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. We see some of these young guys breaking out here, and to be 17 and to be one of the best players in the world up on this stage at DreamHack Atlanta, I just can't even imagine what's going through your mind right now.
It's crazy.
What number LAN is this for you for H1Z1?
This is my first one.
This is your first LAN, and to be up here
Solid
competing,
performance.
Absolutely crazy performance here. This is just, it's so great. Congratulations. So happy to have you up on the stage here, Prox.
Thank you so much.
We're going to let you get back to it, and we are going to have the results soon. We wish you the best of luck, and we will see you playing tomorrow. Be sure to tune in tomorrow to cheer for Prox. Thank you again, my friend.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Played so well. 17 and first LAN representing TK, and we have one more member taking the stage. Yeah, you can go ahead and grab that chair, plop on down next to us. Welcome. Nice to meet you up here. I'm gonna let Supersonic do the intro for you, my friend.
Does he need an intro?
Obviously
I don't think
not.
He does. I'm pretty sure he stepped up and introed himself, playing super consistently through all 3 games. What was your strategy going into these matches?
Well, competitive solos are a lot different than public solos, so that means that I need to play a lot different, meaning that I should only go for kills when I have to, and staying alive is the most important part. So positioning myself in a spot where I can both win the game at the end, but also not take a lot of fire from other people is the ultimate position.
I think that you said that very well, and you played exactly that in that game 2 safe zone, which all the players are saying was probably the roughest. You had that nice little ridge behind you, gas against your back, ridge in front of you, ridge to your left. You really only had one spot open, and the other 2 guys went at it, and you came in and got a clean kill at the end.
Right, so a lot of competitive solos is adapting to your situation. So if you will go back and watch that game, I'm actually to the far north of the safe zone. So my only play was to get on a quad and just go south. And I ended up getting a pretty nice spot in the safe zone. I think I killed 1 guy and smoked myself, and I ended up being in a good spot to win the game.
So eloquently spoken, and I want to get into the nitty-gritty of it again soon, but we can hear your teammates absolutely freaking out right now. What is it like to be a part of this rogue organization? I mean, you guys are really starting to make a name for yourself in esports as a whole, and we can see the camaraderie between you guys.
Right, yeah, team seems pretty happy. Unfortunately, we didn't do well in teams, but I'm glad I could bring this solo. I don't know the placings yet, but I did pretty well. I'm glad I could bring it home for road.
Definitely did pretty well. We are going to find out exactly what that is going to be in just a few short seconds here. But while we have you up on the stage, want to really dive into what it was like to play.
My main question is how does it feel to have to eliminate a teammate 2 games in a row? What's the feeling? What's the thought that goes through your head?
Shout out to my boy Boxes for the care package second game. I had no car. I had 30 AR ammo. I had no gear to win the game, and my boy Boxes was just sitting there with a fresh Jeep and 4 makeshifts for me. So that was helpful. And he told me after he died, he looked me in the eyes and said, "You better win," and I ended up winning. So that was pretty cool.
What is that player environment actually like while you're all sitting over here? We have 60 rigs set up here at DreamHack Atlanta. All the players in pretty close quarters to each other. What is it like to play there?
Right, yeah. Unfortunately, I actually killed a lot of people near me. So whenever they got up to leave, they would like always touch me and be like, "GG, man." Unfortunate for them, but it was a really cool atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a very different atmosphere. Have you played in anything like this before?
Right. Well, yeah, this being my first tournament, I think I played pretty well in the solos and I adapted to the situations I was presented, and I played it just like an online match.
Yeah, you don't need to be humble up here, up on this stage. You played incredibly in solos, and we are excited to see that out of you. And your team is still going. I don't know how they are not tired. They've been playing all day long, and they're screaming their heads off.
They seemed tired until right about the time that he hit about 10th place in that 3rd game, and then for some reason, all of them seemed to have got energy and just took off in a dead sprint. What was it like when you finished that game? Were all of your guys there to root for you as you came out of that match?
100%. So when I ended that game, I was okay with my 9th spot, but when I walked out, I think everyone did the math and said that I ended up pretty well on the leaderboards after all 3 games. So
yeah, we know they were doing the math. That's exactly why they were running off in that 10th position, and you're definitely going to be taking home a sizable prize. And I've been asking all of the pros this because this is the first time that we actually have seen it at one of these H1Z1 tournaments, bounties. Did you put that math in your head at all, or were you just playing for placement the whole time?
So a big part of competitive solos is if you just focus on kills, you're going to end up getting probably around 20th. So you basically, the way competitive solos works is to get late game, you need to kill people. And that's kind of what I did. I just took positions that I knew I could kill people that were going to the zone, but spots where I knew I wasn't going to get pinched by other people. And adapting to the situation and finding those spots in such a small zone with such a large group of people is hard to do, but I think I did it pretty successfully in all 3 games.
I think you probably did. You found a few good spots and made it late game every single round. Absolutely consistent, just dead consistent all the way.
And we talk about how important consistency really is in this tournament scene, but this tournament scene is also very young. So we do have a lot of newer players at home, a lot of newer viewers inside of the chat right now. What is your suggestions for them as they try to adapt to a play style like you employed today?
So the biggest suggestion I can have is not play anything like I am. The only way to get better at H1Z1 is to take a lot of fights when you first get the game. So when I first picked up the game, I tried to play really passive and to learn the game, but to get good at H1Z1, you have to refine your gun skill, and to do that is by taking as many fights as possible. So repetition is key when it comes to public solos, and if you're having a bad day, just keep grinding and you'll eventually be as good. And
those are really important words that we have actually heard from some other pros as well. If you read that guide from Pineapples, that is the 2nd or 3rd bullet point that he actually has down.
Exactly.
So masterfully spoken by you, and actually getting to hear that thought process is so interesting. I hope we get to have you up on this stage again soon, but it is time for us to take a look at the results from game number 3 very soon here, and then we will actually get to find out who will be taking the majority of the prize money. And here is that look now.
Yeah, right around that point where Sweet Dreams came up and hit that 9th place position is right about the time that we lost that whole front row of the crowd as they ran off to go and greet him. So we do see this. Who are some of the people that were in that match that maybe you did not want to have to take an engagement with?
Obviously, if you look at the top 10, I mean, almost all of those players are really good. Splintexify, who's sitting right next to me, him and I were top 10 all 3 games. So it's really cool to share those memories with him, considering we're both dying around the same time and both doing really well in all 3 matches. As well as all the Echo Fox boys, Howie ended up actually killing me in that game. 10K, Crumb, Prox, Nightwalker, all of them are really good players, and it's just an honor to be able to play with them here at DreamHack Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Echo Fox, as you said, also showed up really big, and we see them again here taking 4th, 5th, 11th. Jerk Chicken taking down 19th, so we actually see them step up pretty big. Who do you? Let's maybe get your opinion on what you think is going to happen tomorrow in the fives environment.
Right, so watching the Echo Fox team play, although their group was a little less difficult than our group, I think they played like phenomenally. I think they played really, really well. Them and Impact, I think they're going to have a major impact in the final games tomorrow. And I think it's just going to be a really big toss-up. There's a lot of really stacked teams going into tomorrow, and it'll be really interesting to watch.
All right, I think the moment has come. Are we ready to take a look at the overall results? They are ready.
Do you want to be here for this?
Ready.
I think he's ready to see this as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the overall results for the solo finals here at the H1Z1 Elite Series at DreamHack. Sweet Dreams taking down first place, $25,000 plus a couple bounties. How does that feel? T-Hump has apparently decided it is time to come hug this guy again. Congratulations, Sweet Dreams. How does that feel, man? I think your face tells it all.
Yeah, yeah. I think I played really well, yeah. Congrats to all the other people that played really well. I think it just comes down to consistency, and being consistent in all 3 games is how you're going to end up in the money, and I think I did that well.
Now we're going to jump back to that graphic for just a second. Huge congratulations to you, Sweet Dreams. 25K going to be going home with you. And as we can see, Prox going to round it out in 2nd place. Aladdin going to come in 3rd. Granny, who actually managed to win one of the games here today, is going to be in 4th place. Splint, who you have mentioned, in 5th. And then rounding it out in the final 5 places, taking money, it's going to be 10K. Howie, Crumb, Flamehopper, and Doug Israel. They are going to be the 10 best in the world here from Atlanta DreamHack. Major congratulations to all of them. And then we are going to get to see who actually had the most kills. That is one of the things I am looking forward to, because that is going to be a huge additional chunk of money.
I think Prox has it. I think Prox has more kills than me. Prox slayed out. Prox played amazing those 3 games, and I think he deserves to be the player with more kills.
We will see, though, in just a second. So excited to see how this entirely played out. Just so excited for you taking home this first place. But here it is. Prox does manage to tie. He's up at the top with 9 kills. We're going to see both you and Prox with 9 kills. Aladdin and Fox's Radak just behind with 8 kills. And then in 5th place, it's going to be Doug Israel.
All right, is there a reason why he gets 3K more if we tied for kills?
I have no idea how that works, going to be completely honest, but will have the refs break that one down.
Fair enough.
Either way, we do get to celebrate the fact that you are getting 9 kills on the board along with 1st place. You're definitely going to be taking home a huge chunk of money. We'll figure out exactly how much that is once we actually do have the refs looking at it, and we can hear your teammates right now screaming, you are the best player in H1Z1, and we are going to see you continue to post these results very soon. Excited to see what you can come up with when we go to DreamHack Winter in Sweden. Hope to see you and the boys of Rogue there.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you a lot, and we're going to let you walk off the stage for just a second here, and pretty soon I am sure we will be handing out these trophies and a big old check. Thank you so much for your time, man, and congratulations.
Congratulations, man.
Now, what do we think of these results?
I called it wrong. Prox actually jumps up narrowly by about 7,000 points and lands himself in 2nd.
Surprised
a lot
to
of
see
young
that happen.
players just crushing out in this solo environment.
And we can see just how happy Prox is as well. A lot of celebration going on in our audience here right now, but that shows just how important slaying is going to be in those later portions of the game, while kills actually do matter for the point system.
The breaker number of kills actually ended up going to Prox due to one of the games where I believe it came out to the highest total in a single match.
Oh, okay, so the tiebreaker actually comes down to the highest total in one match, and that is going to be 3 for Prox across the board. That is what we are seeing right now.
Correct. And we're going to go ahead and bring all 3 of them back up. It looks like we've got all 3 of our guys here.
All 3 of our champions walking onto the stage right now.
We have got Sweet Dreams, Prox, and Aladdin all coming back up to the stage. All 3 players playing phenomenally. And this is your top 3 for the H1Z1 Elite Series in Atlanta.
Atlanta, let's hear you give it up for your top 3 of the solo queue here at DreamHack. And look at them repping all of their team colors right now. We have some trophies for them as well. This one's a big one. I'm pretty sure this goes to 1st place.
I'm thinking that one's probably gonna gonna fall to Sweet
Put
here.
down that microphone. You need to hoist this trophy up right now for the audience here in Atlanta. Congratulations to you taking the king's share of that prize money. And then we also do have these trophies for second and third place. This one is going to be for second. This one is going to be for third.
Prox, it is an honor to hand you that trophy, my man. Congratulations, great play. Aladdin, you as well. All three of you hold that up. Show
Give it
these
up for
people
them
that we are
one
a
more
family.
time. Let's hear it, Atlanta, for your top three. Taking it out in all-star fashion. Even our production's getting popped up. Yeah, you
We're not going to
probably-
repeat that one, but our production in the back is absolutely hyped here on the teleprompter.
And we are not done the H1Z1 action. We're going to wrap for tonight. Going to let these guys celebrate, but we are going to be back with the teams. 150K more on the line. Each kill going to put $100 in those players' action. So don't miss it tomorrow. Set an alarm and be sure to tune in July 23rd at 12 p.m. Eastern. We will see you tomorrow to crown more champions live from DreamHack.
Have a great night, guys.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's White Chaos, so welcome back to the live stream. Wow, that was such a show. That was insane. Sweet Dreams taking it home for first, second goes to Prox, and then third, Aladdin. I'll be honest, I was rooting for Dropped mostly, and Aladdin the entire time. Aladdin, fortunately, got 10th, 2nd, and 10th among his top three, resulting in his, third place in the event, which is pretty crazy, so that was pretty awesome to see. Right there at the end, you know how the kills were the exact same between Prox and Sweet Dreams. Prox got the extra 3K. You know, I don't know. If I were Daybreak, I would have split that money between both of them, 1,500 each. Who knows? Prox might even do that himself just to be a good guy. But, you know, that's just how I would have done things. I would have split the money. Overall, very nice event. It was pretty awesome. You saw this and recommended watching highlights, and is this some kind of stream? Wait, what? Yeah, guys. So, yeah. I just decided I'd come on the mic right here at the end. I have been doing that the past few streams. So, yeah, that was a pretty insane event, especially Game 3, guys, when it was just wide open area, where if you were to be looking from above, like they were the entirety of the end game, you would just see smoke everywhere. It was insane. It was like colonies, like 3 different people in each smoke cloud. It was nuts. And then just ultimately, just that win right there. It was insane. Fantastic games right there. Glad to see that Aladdin, Prox, and Sweet Dreams took the top 3. And of course, all those other guys who, got top 10. And, I think Dropped got quite a bit of money as well. He got quite a bit of kills. I'm assuming I thought he had like 10, 12 kills overall. I guess not. Maybe he had just 6 or 7. But that's still a lot of money right there. $600-$700 right there. That's pretty awesome. So that was pretty exciting to see. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching this stream here on YouTube. I have no affiliation with Daybreak or H1Z1 at all. I'm just a big fan of the game. I love playing the game. And I play it all the time. And I just decided to start streaming the DreamHack events over on my channel just because nobody else was streaming them on YouTube. I know people wanted to be watching them on YouTube instead of Twitch, so I appreciate you guys coming to watch the streams as well as, liking the videos, as well as, subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate that, guys. For those of you watching right now and who are new subscribers to the channel or want to see what's coming up from my channel next, I do actually do the Division videos. That's what my channel is kind of based around. But I have been doing a lot of H1Z1 videos and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds videos as well, which will be starting up very, very soon. I'm not the best at H1Z1, but I'm also not bad at the game. So expect to see some high kill games, probably around 15 kill wins, such like that. I was royalty preseason 4, so I do pride myself on that. It's pretty awesome to, be royalty in at least one of these seasons when I, started playing preseason 3. But I'm going off on a tangent, guys. I guess I'm just going to end it here pretty soon. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I appreciate it. 40 of you still watching. You guys are all the real MVPs. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in tomorrow's Fives Finals, which I will be live streaming as well. When is it? 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you guys there. And as well, I hope to see you guys on videos of mine in the future and other streams. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next live stream.